Ladies and gentlemen, I don't think I need to even introduce the man I'm sitting next to, but I will, because he's a little bit of a legend, a lot of bit of a legend. I am here with Jordan Maxwell, right next to me here. And this man has changed my life and opened my eyes to so many things, whether it's the study of words or astronomy or symbols. And every time I hear him speak, I learn something new. And the fact that he's still doing it and the fact that he is still a truther, I think is inspirational. And when I found out that he lived near Sedona, Arizona, I had to meet him in person. I could have just done this on the computer, Jordan, but I didn't want to because I wanted to actually be in your presence. Because yes, because I think I think you've been an inspiration to me, and I feel like he's inspired everything from the Matrix to David Icke, whatever. And I'm not going to talk that much in this interview because I want the people that are on the live stream to be asking questions. And there's a few of you that have paid money and contributed to Jordan. And those are the ones that, of course, get the floor. And if you want to get on the live stream, I will put the link in the chat. And you can ask them yourself face to face. I think that's how it should go. Jordan, welcome.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
I am very excited.
At my age, it's nice to be anywhere.
At your age, it's nice to be anywhere. Well, I'm thrilled to be a part of well, that's us. It's a little bit. You see, that's us. That's what they're looking at. It's a little bit pixelated, but we are in the mountains, so you're going to understand that that's probably going to be the case. However,
we're way up in the mountains.
We are way up in the mountains, way past Flagstaff. So I'm going to put the link if you guys want to ask a question, but let me just open up by quick saying hi to the chat. Hi to there's Thomas Jefferstein. That's a cute one. Looking forward to this. Someone says they called out from work to be here, Jordan. That's a big deal. Someone said, check out Michelangelo's painting called The Creation of Adam. Now Adam's pointing finger is higher than the gods. I'm so excited. This is going to be great. Wendy, you contributed to Jordan, so thank you for that. And you can ask a question if you'd like to come on. We've got Casey. Hello, Casey. Hello, Sean Hammer and Ryan. And Taz, of course. Everybody's very excited. Now, Jordan, you said that you feel like you haven't made an impact or you don't feel very important. And I feel like I'm talking to one of the most important people in the world. Why in the world would you feel that way?
It's my personality.
Personality. Okay. Well, you're very humble. And there's a lot of people who think you're pretty awesome. I'm probably not going to be able to continue to show your comments. I'm just going to have somebody ask a question and let it go. Marty says, amazing, Maxwell in the room. Stay strong, Professor, he says. Love you, Jordan. Nice to see you both. This is so very important. Good to see you back after all this time, Jordan. Greetings. There's a lot of people from around the world right now saying hi. So, Jordan, I guess my first question is, what's your view on what's happening in the world today?
The communist operation, Soviet communism.
Okay.
And the people of America are what V.I. Lenin called the Russian people when he was setting up the Communist Party in Russia. He took over Russia and started something called the Soviet Union, like the Carpenters Union, the Plasterers Union, the Painters Union, and the Soviet Union.
Right.
It was a collection of labor, is what the communists wanted, to collect all the labor together and control it. Well, that was the mafia's job in New York, to collect that labor. But the communists took over Russia and wanted to collect the labor of the people and I see that happening again now in our country. But V.I. Lenin, one of the founders of world communism, said of the Russian people, he called the Russian people useful idiots. Why? Because he needed to have their support. So the people of the country were useful to the Communist Party. Why? Because they were idiots. They go along with anything. They're stupid. They don't read, they don't study, they don't know, they just do whatever they're told. And that's good for communism. That's how they got to be so big. And so today, that's what we have in America. The people are useful idiots. They go along with whatever they're told to do. They just do it.
Well, and I see that,
yeah,
and I see that happening a lot in America for sure. I want to make sure, someone said the powers that be are messing with your audio. So I want to make sure before you start saying even more important stuff that we can hear it correctly. Yeah, there's a his. Yep, there is a hiss. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to unplug this. Hold on a second. I'm going to go to the microphone because if you speak, it needs to be. Here we go. This is going to make it better. Okay, now. Hello, hello, hello. That's going to be a lot better. I'm going to hold that. Okay, guys, let me know that the sound is good now. They always are good about giving me feedback. Because you know, Jordan, when you do things live, you never know what's going to happen. And I like that. Put the mic right under his nose. Well, now that the Yeti's working, much better. Okay. And sorry, guys, it might be a little blurry because this is, we're in the mountains. We're
way up in the mountains.
Way up in the mountains. Okay, perfect. We've got perfect. Okay. Okay, a lot better. Everybody says a lot better. Okay. Now, you saw my teaser of tonight, and in that teaser, you said you had an astrology friend or an astronomy friend who predicted what is happening right now.
Yeah.
So tell me more about that.
My friend is an expert, in my opinion, on the Nostradamus method of reading the stars.
Okay.
So I would say it's loosely astrology, but it's not astrology in the common understanding.
Okay.
Because Nostradamus did things that astrologers can't do. He told the future, and it happened exactly like he said.
Yep.
So there must be some way that humans can do that. Well, I've got a guy that's a dear friend of mine who does that for me. He reads Nostradamus stars the way he did it, the way Nostradamus did it for me and my life.
Mm-hmm.
So he tells me things which are going to happen to me months and sometimes a year and a half before it happens. So he's extraordinary in what he can do. He does not want to talk to people. I don't blame him. He doesn't want to take anybody. He doesn't want to talk to anybody in the public. He's a very, very private kind of guy, but he's extraordinarily intelligent, very, very bright. And he tells me, like a year and a half, many years ago, he told me, we were talking one day, and he said, you know, a year and a half from now, there's going to be a video put out about you that's on your work, and it's going to make you famous. But you're not going to know anything about it. You're just going to hear about it from other people. You're not even going to have anything to do with it. Somebody else is going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to be on your basic work. And he said a year and a half from now, and there's nothing you can do about it. A year and a half later, he told me it would be in September that this video would come out based on my work. And then that year and a half later, in September, Zeitgeist came out.
Oh, that woke me up to everything from religion to money to, you know, I mean, if you guys have seen the Zeitgeist, that was a big awakening for me.
Yeah, well, that was based on my work. And Jeff Rentz Radio, had Peter, what was his name? Peter Joseph, I think it
Mm-hmm.
was. He was the producer of it, of Zeitgeist. And he had Peter Joseph on his show.
Right.
And he asked him about me. And Peter Joseph said the whole entire Zeitgeist was based on Jordan Maxwell. But
Wow.
since he has never done anything like that, I did it for
Wow.
him.
Wow.
And so they did so I got, this is what I was told was going to happen. It happened a year and a half before.
Now, when you say what was going to happen, well, that happened, but also what's happening now with the
He told
pandemic.
me about a
Yeah.
year ago
Okay.
to watch out for October of this year.
Mm-hmm.
He said because something terrible is going to happen to the earth, not to New York or LA,
Mm-hmm.
but to the whole entire earth. It's going to be terrible. Whatever it is, it's going to affect business all over the earth. And so I'm thinking, he said the reason why he said this is because of the Nostradamus way of reading the stars.
Hmm.
And he said in September, the whole entire earth, not America, the entire earth is going to move into the constellation of Scorpio.
Okay.
Scorpions are deadly.
Mm-hmm.
And the god over Scorpio at that time will be Mars. Mars is the god of war,
Mm-hmm.
and scorpions are deadly. So we're talking about a deadly war coming. It's going to be a horrible war. Something's going to affect the whole world. I'm not saying I know what it is because I don't, but I'm saying it could be a nuclear war. It could be a war between the great powers of the world.
Mm-hmm.
It could be a comet hitting the Earth. It could be a comet hitting the Earth. But I don't know for sure. All I know is that whatever it is, I was told, watch out for October. It's going to happen. And when it happens, it's going to be big and terrible. So that's what I'm saying now. Get ready, folks, because 9/11 was child's play for New York. We're going to have something happen to the earth, and it's going to happen in Scorpio, and Mars is the god of Scorpio,
Mm-hmm.
and Mars is a god of war, and Scorpio is deadly. And we're also going to be, it's also going to bring in a connection to Ophiuchus. Ophiuchus is another constellation, but it's not of the zodiac. It's not a zodiac symbol,
Mm-hmm.
but it is a constellation. And Ophiuchus is very powerful. Whatever it implies, whatever it touches, it's very powerful. So that tells me that we're talking about a war which is deadly and very powerful. So,
Well, I think I've felt that way, and I felt there's a lot of people commenting right now, and someone asks, what does he know about gematria? Ask him and tell him this: Nostradamus equals 71, 145. Catholic equals 71, 145. I don't know that much about gematria, but it seems to be very
are you
popular in the
talking
truth
about the
community.
MAFIA?
I'm not sure. This was Marty's question, and he says, "What does he know about gematria?" And I think that
What do I know about the mafia?
no gematria. So
Oh,
gematria has to do with numbers, and
yeah,
everything has
I
to do with a
understand.
code,
I
and yeah,
understand.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I know that numerology is very powerful.
Mm-hmm.
The entire universe is based on numbers and numbers, numerology, and that is a study of numbers.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, there are people today who are running the world for us, and they are doing it according to the numbers.
Yep.
I heard a young man many years ago when computers were first coming out, he was on television and they were talking to him about his job. And he said, what I do, I work for the U.S. government,
Mm-hmm.
and all I do is carry my computer with me.
Mm-hmm.
And on my computer are all the important days to the organized crime syndicates of the world. And I keep track on things which are supposed to happen on a certain day, and I make sure my government knows what to do and what not to do, and what they can and can't do. And I just thought that was very interesting that he's living his whole life
Based on that.
based on a computer with all the days that are important to organized crime.
Yep. Now here's a question that I'd go right to. I was going to wait till the end, but when you say this big thing is happening in October, what can we do as a human species to either protect ourselves or prepare for this event that I think intuitively we can all feel is coming? And whether it's okay, go to the store and get food and this and that, but ultimately, is there a way that spiritually we can up level our energy vibration so that we can affect this in any way?
I have no idea. I would suggest that you just go with the flow. Whatever happens, you have no control over it. You will not be a big part of it. You're just going to be affected by it. And that means that there's nothing you can do, nothing you're going to be able to do to save the human race. Keep in mind, you cannot save the human race. You can't save people. You have to save a person one at a time by causing them to think and educate themselves. But the great masses of the world, all 7.5 billion, have got an IQ of about 40. So you're not going to be able to save them from their catastrophe, which is coming, because they are basically far too unread, ignorant, and ill-informed, self-centered, and stupid. And so just take care of yourself and talk audibly. This is important. Listen what I'm saying.
I want to get out of it and I want it to be focused more on you, Jordan. So let me just put this down. I kind of am sick of seeing myself. So what I'd like to do is place this where I can see your face and not see my face, because I see my face all the time. Jordan, I'm kind of sick of my face, to be honest with you. And I never get to see your face. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to put this here. And I have it turned up. There's the camera right there. Yep. Okay, good. Now, that's way better, because I feel like this is not about me. It's about somebody that I think is very, very important.
Oh, you're very sweet.
Well,
very nice.
it's true. You are. And so many people have heard your words. I know that you say that you feel like there are a lot of people that are asleep, and I do too. But I also feel like you have created, there wouldn't even be people listening or a live stream if you have not made an effect in their life. And you have made an effect in many people's lives. And I know you're very humble, but you really have been crucial for my awakening in seeing things differently, whether that's words or symbols or astronomy. And therefore, because of you, I have a mission that I feel like is important to educate people about what I know from you. And I continue to learn when I hear you speak, and we're going to tell them all about your website and the education they continue to learn when they go to it. But I think the most important thing is to hear from you what your advice is about humanity as it is, and what's going to happen with artificial intelligence, and is that...
Well, thank God for artificial intelligence.
Thank God. What do you mean?
Thank God for artificial intelligence.
So you're happy that they're going to take over the world?
Very happy about that.
Okay. Why is that?
Because the nation has no intelligence. At least we got artificial intelligence.
Well, that's true. Yes, that's true. We have someone just said, JM is a legend. 100 people watching you right now. Someone said, you changed my life forever. Yes, he is a legend. Rachel Meecher, please tell Mr. Maxwell, we all know he is one of the original truthers. Everybody's so excited to...
From 60 years ago.
What?
From 60 years ago.
Yeah, and that's incredible. I mean, and you said to me before we started that you wanted to share some things, but you were worried if you did, you were worried for your life.
There are many things I cannot share with you.
Yes, yes.
And the reason why is because I'm concerned about my life.
Yes.
Because if I were to tell the public some of the things I want to tell the public, I'm going to put some very powerful people, and I do mean big, powerful people in trouble.
Yes, I understand.
And so therefore, I can't do what I want to do.
Look at this. Jordan has someone wonderful that just brought some fruit for me. And fruit and ham. Thank you so much.
It's prosciutto.
Julie, you're wonderful. That's so sweet. Hey, you know, when he moves back to LA, and this is Oprah. Yeah. Thank you very much.
You're more than welcome here anytime.
Yes. Okay, guys. I know someone says she's not even listening, but do you understand how many things I'm trying to do at the same time? I'm trying to get the sound rights and read your comments and all this kind of stuff. So forgive me if I did not hear Brian. If you want to ask again, you can do that. He is a treasure, someone just said. He was a truther before I was even born. They can't believe it's been 60 years. People are dumbed down by fluoride. If there is somebody that wants to ask a question live, I'm going to give away the email link so you can do that. But right now, it says, Rachel Reenstra, ask him about the future of water wars in the age of Aquarius.
The future of what?
Water wars in the age of Aquarius. I'm not sure what water wars. It's not like people are throwing water balloons at each other. No, that's not.
They made movies called Water World.
Yeah, Water World. Kevin Costner. I remember that. Let him finish his while he's eating right now, and he's going to answer that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put the link, okay? If anybody wants to pop in, some of you who have contributed, I said you are welcome to pop in and ask him a question in person. So I'm going to copy the link right now, and the link is going to be right underneath this chat, which is going to be right here. I'm going to create a banner with the link so you guys can come in and quick pop in and say hi, which is the amazing thing about having a live stream. Here it is. That is the link right there, guys. And I will also put it in the comments so you can see it. And if you're a moderator, you can help me out and continue to post the link for anybody that wants to copy it and join. You can pop right in. So this is the link right here. If you'd like to join and ask him a question. There's a lot of questions that I know I missed, but it says Jordan was about to tell us something very important. Could he get back to that, please? Mm-hmm. He remembers. That's the thing, that he's so unbelievably, for being 65 years old,
No, 80.
Oh, stop it. You're not 80.
Yeah.
Well, he could teach Joe Biden a thing or two about remembering things because he doesn't need a teleprompter. He remembers words. I can't remember what he had for breakfast.
A lot of things I don't forget. Anything to do with my work, I don't forget.
I love that.
At 80 years old, I'd rather forget about the world I live in.
I understand that.
But the things that I have had to learn or experience, I don't forget them.
You don't. I watched you to have an interview 2 weeks ago, and you remember authors, you remember words, you remember. It's incredible. Your mind is incredible. Let's just say that. So you are going to get to
I
say
think
something.
it's incredible. I have a mind.
All right, we have a couple people waiting to join and ask you a question, but they did say you were about to say something really important, which I feel is you're always about to say something really important. Do you
I
remember?
think so,
Yeah.
anyway.
Do you remember
Uh,
what that was?
if you're concerned about the future, then go and talk to God, so to speak. Audibly, audibly talk to the spirit world. And let the spirit world hear your thoughts, because there are spirits here. You just don't see them. But they are called angels. Angels are angel. El is God in Hebrew, and angel is a messenger of God. And so what I am saying is that if they hear you are concerned about something, they take that message to God, so to speak.
And so,
If I were you, I would audibly talk to the Spirit, just as if you're talking to someone, it's your friend, that's important and intelligent, and you're talking to him. That's what I would suggest you do. Talk to the Spirit about what's bothering you, and ask the Spirit to please protect you and protect your family and help you to understand better what's going on. And the Spirit will do whatever it's going to do.
and so there is a bit of surrender to that. And I know you have had experience with communicating, even at a young age. And I don't know if you got a chance to see when I was sharing with people the story that you told back in 1959 when you were in Los Angeles and you were kind of hooking up with that girl and you guys went to dinner and you met every week and then you met her dad and then her dad looked at you and said, I remember, he said, do you remember a time when you were praying and you were somewhere specific outside on a patio doing something? He was so specific about what he shared with you, you kind of were freaking out going, well, how does he know this? And then you kept visiting both of them, and then he kind of shared with you that he was an alien, or what exactly was it? Just that he
I
knew?
think he was an alien. Because of what he said and what I witnessed with my own eyes, what he could do.
And what he could do was to be able to get into your mind and see what you had thought and said and prayed about.
And then he went out in the front yard with me and the two girls. And he began to talk inaudibly, not making any sound, but looking up in the sky and talking. And so I said, well, who are you talking to? He said, I'm just talking to my friends. And they said that they'll be here in about 2 minutes. I said, what are you talking about? He said, well, you said you wanted to see UFOs,
Right.
didn't you?
Right?
Yes. Well, I just talked to them. They said they'll come over and you'll see them in about a minute or two. A couple of minutes later, they did show up. 3 beautiful, gorgeous UFOs.
What did they look? What the UFOs look like?
They were absolutely gorgeous. There were 3 of them going in a triangle formation.
Yeah.
And each one of them was about the size of a full moon. Not little lights in the sky. No, full moon size. And they flew over and then stopped right above our heads. They flew over and stopped right above us. And they began to have these beautiful colors. It was as if a pie, because they were round. And so it was as if a pie was cut in 6 or 8 slices. and each slice was a different color.
Mm-hmm.
But I did not know until later what the colors were like. They were laser colors. They scream laser colors.
So you now had an experience of, would you say,
Seeing
mm-hmm,
UFOs over
Mhm.
my head
over your head?
with her father, with my girlfriend's
Oh,
father,
man.
talking to them. And
And-
he said they'll be going pretty soon. They're going to leave, and they'll be going
Okay.
soon.
Right? Put it here. Okay. So how did that make you feel as far as your connection with him and your, because the saddest part of the story was one day you showed up and she ghosted you. Like she was gone and he was gone. They you could never find out what happened to them. Just
Nope.
one day you came back and they were done. But he gave you a book that he said helped you on your journey. And what was that book?
And that book was called The Complete Works of Charles Fort,
Okay.
F-O-R-T.
Okay.
The Complete Works of Charles Fort.
Mm-hmm. And did you read that and then all of a sudden your life really was changed because you really would you say that was your tipping point? Would you say that was what made you
That was what
follow the journey?
maybe
Yeah.
at that point, I decided at 19 years old, I'm going to devote myself to the occult world of knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
Occult simply means hidden.
Hidden. And some
And
people have
all-
a weird occult like, ooh, that's satanic.
No.
No, it's not.
Means hidden.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And all real knowledge is hidden.
Mm-hmm.
Because the people who run our world for us do not want you to know anything.
Mm-mm.
They would rather you just stay stupid and ignorant and ill-informed and unread. And it's much easier to use you if they're superior to you in intellect.
That's right. That's right. Well,
And that's what I think is happening.
do you think there's another energy or another force out there that's feeding off our fear, and that ultimately we're going to be the demise of our own selves because we are giving in to the energy of divide and conquer?
If you go on the web and somebody I know who videotaped me, but I didn't know that they were going to put it on the web, and maybe they didn't, and maybe it's going to be pulled down soon
Right.
because it was not officially for the web. It was a private video.
Okay.
But I spoke at a conference in Laughlin, Nevada, which is about 60 miles south of Las Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
It's on the Colorado River. And so they videotaped me, but someone has taken that copy of that tape and put it on the web.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's called Jordan Maxwell, Ordo Ab Chaos,
Mm-hmm.
Order Out of Chaos.
Mm-hmm.
It's called Jordan Maxwell, Order Out of Chaos. You go on the web and you can watch the whole 90-minute lecture. I am telling you that I finally was able to put some of the most important material the human race needs to hear into that lecture.
Mm-hmm.
And I would highly suggest anybody wanting to know what's going on in the world and what's happening to America, go on the web to YouTube and type in Jordan Maxwell, Order Out of Chaos.
Jordan Maxwell. I watched the entire thing.
Did
It
you?
was been, oh my gosh, absolutely. That was when I said I have to meet him in person. That was so unbelievably revealing, and I can't believe you brought forth new information even at this point. So,
And so that's what I would suggest people do.
right.
If you're interested in what's going on.
And what was the most important thing you said in that seminar that you feel? Because you had a lovely slideshow of so many different things. I shared that about a week ago with everybody. I played
Oh,
almost
really?
the whole thing. Oh yeah, of course. I mean everything from the dollar bill to sun images, and there's so much knowledge that you have that that's why I wanted to bring on people, because I've made sure they watched it. So they have, most people that are here watched it because they tuned into
That's
my
good.
channel.
Yeah.
But it's still, it never ends. We've got 3 people wanting to ask you a question in person, but I just want to make sure.
Well, the bottom line on
Mhm.
what I was saying in the
Yep.
film, in the video,
Yep.
was that our country is now being taken over by the World Communist Movement.
Mhm.
The World Communist Party is taking over and destroying us. And we Americans are what Lenin called the Russians. We are also America's, quote, useful idiots, because they need our compliance. They need us to do whatever they tell us to do. So they tell you, put your mask on, go home, shut your mouth,
Mhm.
and we hope you die.
Mhm. And people are willing to do it, and I think the trial run for then the vaccine. Now, Harmon Walker, I because I'm filming with my phone, I would appreciate it if you in the chat said your question, because Harmon contributed a good portion of the donation, and I think it's important that he be heard. He had an amazing question. I couldn't repeat, Harmon, because I couldn't memorize the question that you had. So if you could put that in the chat, that would be great. I think that everything from, I didn't look at it like communism before, but now where I feel like our freedom of speech is taking away, and all these truthers from
No,
everything
wait
from
till
David
they
and
take
I.
you away.
And, right. And they're doing it in Australia, and you saw they're doing it in New Zealand. They're starting to take people away and arrest them just for posting on Facebook that they're encouraging other people to join in on the peaceful protest against the tyranny of taking away freedom of speech. And maybe because they don't have guns, that's probably the place to do it. But I'm seeing it happen. But how can you explain the people that are still supporting this pandemic, saying it's real, you know, you're dangerous with the information you share? I've had people tell me that over and over again on Facebook. And how do you deal with those people that just can't see it?
Well, leave them alone. They'll figure it out when they get arrested and taken to prison and get the hell beat out of them.
Mm-hmm.
And leave them alone, and I don't care. It doesn't matter to me.
Right.
Because if I hear people crying about what's happened to them, I say, so what?
Well, you know, we it's just they're going to attack you for sharing the truth.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you're
That's
conspiracy
always
there.
been.
Mm-hmm.
In the Roman Empire, anybody who brought bad news to Caesar, he would have them put to death. Tell me what you have to say. If it's good, I will reward you.
If it's not,
If it's not,
off
I'll
with
have
your
your head cut off.
Okay, Casey, one of my friends, she wants to know, is Trump involved in New World Order, and how much? Because many people at the end of that speech that you gave, when they said, hey, who's going to be the next president? And then you said, well, you already have him. Like, you didn't even blink, which I loved, and I feel that way in my gut too. But then other people were like, oh, does he really think that Trump is not involved in all of this? Then I'd like to hear your opinion on that.
I think he's heavily involved,
Okay.
but not in the way you might think.
Okay.
Because it is my opinion that he represents a group of people.
Mm-hmm.
He's not doing what he's doing because he wants to do
For
it.
you.
He represents
Take that home with
people.
you.
You're amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
That he is, say that again. So is he
He's
for us or against?
representing other people. And the communists in America, they know that. And they know the people he's in business with that are backing him, and they're scared to death of those people. Because those people are obviously the wealthiest and most powerful people on the planet. And they're not stupid. And all you have to do is read Giuseppe Mazzini's letter he got from Mazzini, where Mazzini was told by Albert Pike back in the 1870s
Mm-hmm.
that there's going to be, in 1870s, Albert Pike wrote a letter to Giuseppe Mazzini, and he said there's going to be 3 world wars.
Okay.
The first 2 are going to be with Germany in the world. Well, the first two world wars were with Germany. That's exactly what happened. How did he know that back in the 1870s? Well,
Mm.
he knew. And he said the third one will be between Zionism and the Arab world. Well, that's what we see coming. That's what we see is happening.
What's happening right now? Yeah.
Right.
Who are the people that made Mr. Maxwell's life hell for the last 5 years? Someone wants to know. You can't say.
I made a mistake.
Mm.
Somebody came to me and said, "Let me help you."
Mm.
And then I lived in a trailer on the property.
Mm-hmm.
And then one day they came to me and said, "You have to sign this paper." They gave me a paper.
Oh no.
"You have to sign this paper or get off the property."
Mm-hmm.
Well, I was sick and I was 75 years old. I was very sick at the time. I was in bed under doctor's care. And they said, "You have to sign it because it's a trust." And they said, "You're signing this trust document and we're going to be you're going to be the beneficiary.
Oh, no.
I'm the one who's giving them something. And they're going to market it for me and take care of me and give me half of what they make."
Right.
Well, they then took the paper that said it was a agreement for a trust, but it didn't say that. They put in the first paragraph, "This is a buyer and seller." You can't say that if it's a you know, if I am the beneficiary and I'm giving them all of my work, everything I've ever
Oh,
done.
you signed your work away.
Yeah, I signed it all away to
Oh my
somebody
God.
else,
Oh my
and they
God.
said, "Good, now we
Oh my
own you."
God.
So they went to court and said, "I gave them everything I've ever worked for. I gave it to them."
So after that, and you realize that you signed it away. It was
A trust.
yeah, a trust.
And so
Okay.
therefore I now am faced with having to deal not only with those people who have stolen from me,
Mm-hmm.
but I have to deal with the so-called United States criminal justice system.
Oh, no.
There's a reason why they call it a criminal justice
Yeah.
system.
Why is that?
Well, it's because the people who are involved in the justice system in America are themselves the criminals.
Right.
So why do you have to go to court? It's because you play tennis on a court.
Mm-hmm.
How do you play tennis on the court?
Mm-hmm.
You play with a racket.
Mm-hmm.
You think those words are by chance?
Mm-mm.
No. It is a racket. And the lawyers will tell you the whole thing is a racket.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was in court, sitting next to my attorney, the opposing attorney was a lady, and she got up and told the judge, federal judge, that I had given everything I owned in the world to these people. When
Oh my
in
God.
point of fact, it was a trust. I never gave anything to
Right.
anybody.
Right.
But she stood there and told the judge, Jordan Maxwell gave away everything.
Mm-hmm.
And I turned to my attorney and I said, "I can't believe she actually stood up and looked at the judge eye to eye and lied." And he said to me, "That's what we do.
He just came right out and said
That's
it.
how we make a living. It doesn't matter. That's what we do. We lie." And so I found out it's true. And the attorneys were so ignorant. They were so profoundly ignorant, ill-informed and unread, no matter how much they're making, that they didn't realize it was a trust. I trusted someone to take my
I
work
love it.
and
These
to
words.
give me half. And they said, "You'll be paid. You'll be paid." Well, in the last 10 years, I have not received one dime as they're making, and we at least got the court to order PayPal How much have you brought in 4 years? This is in 2010 to 2014 or 2012, whatever it was. It's 4 years.
Yeah.
How much have you brought in selling Jordan Maxwell products? And PayPal came back and said 438,000. Well, out of that $438,000, I got zero, nothing.
And this
Got
is
nothing.
this is what upsets me, and not it doesn't surprise me, but I feel like I've been brought into your life because I want to keep creating things with you that will bring back some kind of income, what you deserve, and recognition that you deserve.
Well,
And
I have today zero, nothing.
yeah, I know. And this is, but we're gonna change. We're gonna change that. I've already made it happen. I talked to the Nibiru, Planet X, and we communicate. We're gonna change that. But you have so much information, and so many people are. It's asking
The
you
kind of
questions.
information that I have,
Yeah,
I feel, just me, just my opinion.
sure.
The kind of information that I have, I'd like to be able to dispense and tell the audience, is information that everyone should know
Should know if they
how
yeah
things really work.
work. But you had the chance to and the opportunity
I
to
had the
before the internet.
opportunity.
There were books, and then the books were burned, and then now they're taking down channels. So I feel like I hope somebody somewhere here. I've got my my iPhone recording this. I hope someone's downloading this because anything that he says and talks about, I feel like is crucial for us to keep around because they will take things down, and we've all have our backup channels and this and that. But someone wants to know about the CFR, the Council on Foreign Relations, and their ties to the communist leaders. Good question. I always know that no way will have a good question. An algorithm, Tony and Milton. I see you guys waiting to ask him a question. Hang in for a couple
The
seconds.
CFR stands for the Council on Foreign Relations.
Yes. Thank you for that question.
What a term, relations. Foreign relations.
Right. I could never look at words the same after you, ever.
That's what it is.
Yes.
It's a foreign relations.
Yeah. Relations.
And so,
So what does that have to do with, he said, I think it was the Communist Party or something. Can you hold that with your hand for just
Yeah.
1 second? Yeah, just hold that. I'm going to put this up because I'm recording it on 2 separate devices, which is
the
why.
Council on Foreign Relations
Yeah.
was set up
Yep.
to promote one thing,
There you go.
the
Bring it.
destruction of America.
Okay.
Because the communists were our enemies during the 20s and 30s.
Right. Right.
Remember? We
Yes.
were at war with communism.
That's right.
Well, today the communists have changed their method and they do not call themselves communists
Oh,
anymore.
what do they call themselves?
Well, they're called liberals.
Uh-oh.
It means communism. They're not the liberals of the
Wow.
14th and 15th century.
No.
Not at all. But they're called liberals.
I feel bad because I feel like at one point I was a liberal because I was an actor in LA, and I feel like a lot of us were liberals, and that didn't seem like a bad thing,
Oh.
you know, because I feel like the day I was.
But now you're
Yeah.
seeing what the liberals
Oh.
really are.
I am, and it's scary because it's
Yeah,
like
well,
that
wait-
was me.
Wait till October. You'll see.
Oh man, not to keep saying that. Okay, so thank you for holding that. Are you okay
No.
holding that for a second? Yeah, okay. Look, he helped me set things up. He's a man of many talents. So there's so basically what you're saying, the Council on Foreign Relations and their ties to the communist leaders.
Yeah. They promote the communist leaders with our money. Because the banks of America, the Bank of America,
Bank of America.
and all the major banks in America have sent money to Russia to build up the Soviet Union. Why? Simple. Because they want the whole world to be a communist concentration camp. Because that way they can control all labor, all people, all the time. And so the banks have financed the Communist Party. But some of the biggest bankers in America, like J.P. Morgan, Morgan Guaranty, and Morgan Guaranty Schiff, and Jacob Schiff, and Paul Warburg, and all the Warburg family,
Right.
and the Rockefellers, they're
Yep.
all a bunch of fascist, murdering incredible criminals.
Mm-hmm.
And they know there's nothing you're going to do about it, just like the mafia. It's like the mafia. They know you're not going to do
And no, you're
anything.
not going to do anything.
Because if you act like you're going
Oh
to, they'll
my.
take you out
And
now.
100%. And that's why I think we all have so much respect for you to speak out. And even me being on television, the moment I spoke out about chemtrails, which is a whole nother discussion, I interviewed a doctor who told me, oh, well, that's probably chemtrail lung because I wouldn't recover from this bronchial infection. The moment I outed that, gave it to someone that had millions of viewers, first I was a hero, and then they brought, not only did they bring me down, Jordan, they made up a profile of my exact same name and background check. It was on my background that I worked for Lockheed Martin. Now, I've been on television for 20 years. How did I do that? And how was I the manager of Lockheed Martin? People don't care. They just listen to the first story. But it made me realize that if somebody speaks out, instantly they can create
They'll destroy you.
They'll destroy you. And guess what? I had a show that they couldn't get rid of because it was to their advantage to keep me because I was the consistent voice of the show. But after that, I never worked again. There you go. There you go.
That's what I'm talking
There
about.
you go. Right? Well, someone says, Rachel, shh. No, but he needs to know. I mean,
I would love to tell you about my mafia stories.
oh my goodness gracious. This is why I want us to do this like completely. Every week we have to have like one new. Okay, but here we go. So there's a person that gave instantly when I said I was talking to you, he gave $100, which was incredible. Because I said, hey guys, let's raise $200 so we can talk to Jordan. I'm not willing to talk to him unless we at least contribute. So this is his question. I don't have a smartphone. I just use my.
I can't see that well.
No, I'm going to read it for you.
Yeah.
The question I would ask him is, could he apply his knowledge and experience to geocentric flat Earth model? For example, space being linear along a flat plane rather than the heliocentric models, vast outer space. If you could ask that question with fortitude and get an answer, not a sidestep answer like politicians, that would be cool. If you can't, no problem, and best of luck with your session tonight. So again, his question is,
Of the flat Earth?
yeah, could he apply your knowledge to experience to geocentric flat Earth the flat Earth model, for example, space being linear along a flat plane rather than the heliocentric model, vast outer space?
I understand.
Okay, good.
And so my answer to that is, I believe that we're living on a round planet. But I must admit in public that the people who are called flat earthers do and have presented arguments which are very persuasive and really have a profound effect on me. Some of the questions that have been asked by flat earthers are very, very important and very brilliant, and they have not been answered at all. So I have to say I don't know, because I sincerely don't know. I've heard airline pilots, I've got plenty of airline pilots who are my friends, and with international airlines, and they tell me we've flown over the North Pole when you're not supposed to fly over the North Pole. Well, they're doing it all the time, and we've never seen an edge of anything. Well, if the Earth is round, you're not going to see anything. That's one of the things that makes me think that the Earth is round. But on the other hand, there's a lot of questions that the flat earthers are asking, which I consider to be very legitimate and very intelligent and have not been answered. So I don't know at this point.
And that's good. I think that we're like what you said. One of my favorite quotes that you have is, "Your mind is like a parachute."
It don't work if you're not open.
Yeah. Boom. I love it. So thank you for answering that, because I feel like that helps with the questions that people
And I
have
have a
about it.
lot of people saying, well, there's a light at the end of the tunnel. And I say, yes, it's a train coming. There's a light.
Yes,
You'll find out about the light at the end of the tunnel. It's a train coming.
That's a train a coming.
Yeah.
All right. So there's somebody else that contributed to you in a few different ways. Algo, I see you on stepping up. And Milton, I'm going to bring Tony to the stream right now. He's actually, Tony, I know you have so much knowledge. Let's keep it to a question or two. And you are on stream now. So, yeah, let's hear it.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, I really don't. I just want to know his opinion on John Coleman and the Committee of 300 book that he wrote. I have a little sentence right here that he wrote. He says that Technotronic Era was commissioned by the Club of Rome. The book is an open announcement on the matter and methods to be used to control the United States in the future. It also gave notice of cloning, robotoids, i.e. people who act like people and who seem like to be people, but who are not.
Well, keep in mind that the Pope is a Jesuit. You better go back and do some homework on the Jesuit priesthood and see who they really are, what they're actually doing. Because the Pope now is a Jesuit, and he is called the Holy Father. Why is he a Holy Father? Because he speaks for God. He's a Godfather. Get it? He is the Godfather.
Right.
And that's why you see in, what was the name of the movie? Godfather 3. In the third of Godfather movies, the third one takes place in the Vatican with Michael Corleone, the head of the Corleone family, mob family, is in the Vatican dealing directly with the Holy Father because he speaks for God and he is the real Godfather. So that should tell you something about the Catholic Church that you didn't know.
And I asked him, I was confused because I felt like, I thought I thought the Jews ran Hollywood and ran everything, but apparently he says, I didn't know the difference between Jesuits and Jews, and that's my bad, but he clarified that for me, right?
I think that the Jesuits have built up a story about the Jewish people, so to speak. In point of fact, I don't think there was no ancient Israel. This much I know from history. There was no ancient Israel. We always talk about the ancient land of Israel. There was no ancient Israel. And you need to understand religion, theology, and the history of theology of the Middle East. Then you will find out there was no Moses, there was no Jesus, there was no Israel. All of that story that we read in the Bible was all put up. And I believe, because of 60 years of looking at this subject and talking to experts around the world, I am totally convinced that the Old Testament was written after the New Testament. I don't think the Old Testament came from before Christianity. I think out of Christianity came the Old Testament. They had the Knights Templars, Masonic order, had to come up with some kind of a semi-legitimate foundation for the Catholic Church to then use their political power. But because Catholic simply means universal. Therefore, when we say it's a Roman Catholic, it's a Roman universal religion. It's a religion of the Roman Empire. And that's why we have an empire state. And because Caesar, when he was running the Roman Empire, his official position as master of the world, his city in Europe was York, England. York, England was a city where Caesar ruled the British Empire. And so we have a place called York. We have a place called New York.
The New York, the new Roman Empire.
England. Yeah, which
There
is
you
the
go.
new
Right.
empire.
Right.
And finally, the Roman Caesars finally got what they've been wanting all of those time, all of these years. They have finally brought about all the nations of the world under the Roman Empire. And New York, that's why we have a thing called the operation of a new world order in New York. It's called the United Nations. That's what Caesar wanted to do, was unite all the nations of the world under one power of which he controlled. And so today we have New York with the UN, which is a Roman Catholic organization run by a very powerful mafia, some sort of a very extremely powerful underworld organization of which the Godfather is the Pope today. It's an incredible story that no one's going to believe. No one's going to believe it.
Oh no, we believe it. There's many people already commenting, and I don't want to forget this because Photohelix, my friend who's dealing with lung cancer right now, he said, well, when you do talk to him, I really want to know this question, what he thinks about a telescope that's called Lucifer at the Vatican.
Well, first of all, you have to know that Lucifer is a word that is,
Bringer of the light.
that's right, the bringer of a light. So if you're walking around some dark place in some dark room and you flip on a flashlight so everyone can see where they are, you are referred to as a Lucifer because you're bringing the light into a dark situation.
Right.
And Jesus said, I am the light of the world. And in the book of Revelation, Jesus said, Jesus, I am Lucifer. So we now see that Lucifer is actually Jesus, according to the Roman Catholic Bible. And it's in
So when they have
Bibles.
a telescope that's named Lucifer, so what is it that makes most people believe Lucifer is actually
A misunderstanding, but not by the people, but a misunderstanding by, what was his name? The Catholic translator, Saint Jerome. When Saint Jerome was translating the Bible from its original languages, he mistranslated a word in the book of the book of Isaiah. Isaiah, I think it's Isaiah 14, 12 through 14. And he mistranslated the word, which was being attributed to a king. But he called the king Lucifer and said, how you have fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the dawn, like a dawn of a new age.
a new day? It's a new day. I listened to your and it's a new day, and all of a sudden the sun rising over the mountains. Now here's another thing. One of my friends said, okay, I get that he showed us all these slides of this sun between two mountains and where it originally came from, this Egyptian symbol or whatever.
Keep in mind that we in America are Anglo-Saxon for the most part originally. And in Anglo-Saxon English, in the King's English, we spell the sun S-U-N.
Right.
That thing that comes up and lights up the whole earth every morning. We spell it S-U-N. But if you go back to the Roman Empire, it was Germanic. And in Germany, they spell the sun S-O-N.
Right.
So therefore, now we have the question, who owns the sun? Period.
Right.
Who owns the sun?
God.
Well, if you are theological or if you're philosophical, you might say God owns the sun. Therefore, God has a son, S-O-N.
Right.
That's why you have if you've got a child who's a male, you call him your son because he's the light of your life.
Oh, see, that's good. I'm going to get you some more water as you answer this next one. But they want to know, someone wants to know, what's your thought on the book of Enoch? And Tony, I only muted you because I guess there was an echo. What's your thought on the book of Enoch? Was it put into place because of what's going on now?
That's hard to say, but I do think the book of Enoch is extremely important, very important to the knowledge of what's going on in the world today.
Yes.
Very, very
Well,
important.
in what way? Like, so we should all look at what's like the Book
Well,
of
just
Enoch.
go
And
back and read the Book of Enoch.
right. Okay. And when you say important, do you feel like that was inspired by?
I think it was inspired by the Gnostics.
Okay, right. And I love the Gnostics. I feel like I'm more in tune with the Gnostics than any kind of Christian belief, because it feels like they had this secret set that the Christian, based on control and fear, were trying to hide from us.
Yeah,
Am I right about that?
you're right. The Gnostics pretty well knew what was going on, and they told the world. And so it's been
But
put
there,
into a
but
book.
and I listened to you today, and you said that there were scrolls that were found before the Dead Sea Scrolls,
Yeah.
and those scrolls were actually even older than the Dead Sea Scrolls.
And
Mm-hmm.
the Dead Sea Scrolls, as interesting as they are, I used to have a friend, Dr. Snow, Alan Snow, was a dear friend of mine. He had a PhD in the Dead Sea Scrolls.
Okay.
And he used to write many books and lecture around the world on the Dead Sea Scrolls because he was extraordinarily
They want you to hold it.
well informed
Yeah.
until he died.
Okay.
But he was a minister in the church, and he formed his own church. And eventually he got a job in a liquor store where he was an alcoholic and could get his liquor cheap. And he died an alcoholic. But he used to tell me all about the books of the Bible and all about theology that he had learned as
With
a
the
doctor.
Sumerian tablets, is
Yeah,
that right?
from Sumerian
Yeah.
tablets, etc. But there was an incredible story. And he used to tell me all the time, Dr. Alan Snow, I'm trying to remember this from many years
You're
ago.
doing a great job. I can't remember what I had for lunch.
But he would tell me, because he worked at the liquor store,
Mm-hmm.
he said almost every Friday night there would be a big van pull up.
Mm-hmm.
And the people would buy cases of booze, all the cheap wines and cheap bottles of booze that they could fill the van up with.
Right.
And it was the Worldwide Church. It was a church. It was the, what do they call that church down in Orange County? The,
Crystal Cathedral?
yeah, not
Yeah.
the Crystal
Not that one.
Cathedral, but there was another one.
Another big church in
It's
in Orange-
TBN,
Okay.
Trinity Network.
Right. The Trinity.
Trinity Network
Right.
used to have a van that would come on Friday nights and fill it up with booze.
Wow.
And they would have a lot of gay parties.
Wow. That in
Yeah.
the church. That's interesting.
And young men would come from all over. They
Well-
would bring them in from all over for their gay parties.
Gay parties. Well, what?
And that's Trinity Network, Trinity
Network.
Broadcasting
Kids, you
Network.
guys are Christian and gay. You
Yeah.
guys go to the church in Orange County.
You don't have to go to church. You can just go to their parties.
or go to the after party.
Yeah.
I'm sure they have communion in a different way. Why is the Vatican's observation telescope named Lucifer? Is it because you really and not only that, you and I both know that if you look for an aerial picture of the Vatican, it's like a serpent, and then you look at like that big where they congregate. There's just this that scary painting right behind the pulpit of like it's almost like an underworld and something rising
Yeah, but
from
you know,
it.
the most
Creepy.
important symbol in the Vatican,
Yeah.
I've been all through the Vatican,
Right.
got special tours of the Vatican.
Yeah.
Most important symbol in the Vatican nobody sees.
What is it?
And if you look at it, it doesn't matter. Because it doesn't matter if you see it or not. It is what it is.
It is what it is.
There's at the back of the Vatican, there's a big round window. And it's a sun. And the way it's designed, it's a big sun.
Mm-hmm.
And in front of the sun is a chair, and it's called the Chair of St. Peter. If you look at the symbols
Yep.
in the chair, it's fascist symbols,
Yep.
the symbols of world fascism,
Mm-hmm.
in the Chair of St. Peter. First of all, there was no St. Peter. The Vatican has a statue the people coming into the Vatican will see of St. Peter. And
Not
they
the Black
kiss
Madonna. Not the
yeah,
Black Madonna. That's different.
it's St. Peter.
Okay.
But in the Vatican reference works, it tells you it's a stone, it's an image that was taken out of a temple from many, many thousands of years ago and put into the Vatican. It was actually Zeus, not Peter. And the people have been kissing the shoes of St. Peter,
I
thinking
remember
it's
you
St.
saying that, and
Peter.
it's actually Zeus. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
'Cause
Zeus.
that goes even farther back. But what's the answer to why is a telescope named Lucifer in the Vatican? And why does it look like a serpent? The whole
Because
Vatican
it's
looks like a
bringing
serpent.
light into the world.
That's what they think, but then why does it look like a serpent? The whole, on an aerial perspective, looks like a serpent. It feels like the Vatican is the most evil organization in the world.
It is. It's the
Right,
most, as far as I'm concerned,
Mm-hmm.
it's the most evil organization on the earth. There is nothing compared to it. They are the brains and the money behind organized crime. This is why the Pope is called the Holy Father, because he speaks for God. He's a godfather.
Right, the Godfather. But so you think the whole serpent, the way that they purposely make it look like a serpent for symbolism, so because they really are the biggest mafia that you say the Jesuits rule the Jews, meaning they tell them what to do rather than the other way around. Because I kind of feel like everything that owns Hollywood, they're Jewish. Everything that owns the big thing, they're Jewish. I'm sorry. I'm
Yeah.
not saying it's a bad thing. I'm just saying I wish I would have known before I moved to LA. I would have joined a temple.
I know. Well, just remember that the Vatican is representing the Roman religion, the world of Roman religion. It's called the Roman Catholic Church. The very word Catholic means, it's an old word that means universal. So it's the Roman universal religion. It's the religion of Rome throughout the universe.
Throughout the universe, right.
And so therefore it's a universal religion. It's called the Catholic religion. The Roman Catholic means universal.
Right. And we are I want to have Tony, I'm going to have you ask one more question, and then there are a lot of people that are hardcore Christians in my community, and for me, I was brought up Christian. So for you to say you don't think that Jesus ever walked the earth is really hard for the people that believe wholeheartedly
Well,
in
let me
Jesus.
tell you, when I was a child, about 8 years old,
Okay.
I was told, because I was going to Catholic school as a little kid, and I was told by the nuns that tomorrow night there's going to be a special mass, a special official mass for you children. It's called confirmation, to confirm you as a Catholic, so that you're confirmed as a Catholic at 8 years old. And so she told us, the nun said, that after the service is over, the bishop will be here. He'll officiate over the service. When the bishop is over and the service is over, the bishop may, perhaps he may ask you children if you have any questions to ask, and he will try and answer them.
Sure.
So if that happens, remember, you keep your mouth shut.
Okay.
You don't ask any questions, period.
Right.
And so the next night, I was there with all the other children, and all the girls sat on one side and all the boys sat on the other side of the church. And after it was over, the bishop did say, now that you are all Catholics and you've been confirmed, if any of you children have a question, I'll try and answer you. And so I stood up to make sure that everybody in the church knew who I am. I stood up and I said, yes, I have a question. My father works with torches, like a blowtorch, what I used to call a blowtorch. And he let me play with the torch sometimes as an 8-year-old. He let me play with it sometimes so I could appreciate the severity of dealing with a torch
Mm-hmm.
when it could really hurt someone.
Mm-hmm.
And so I asked the bishop, I said, if I was holding a torch and it was on fire, and there's an angel appears to me,
Mm-hmm.
because the Bible says angels appear to humans.
Mm-hmm.
If an angel appeared to me, could I take the torch and burn the angel? And he said, no. And I said, why not? The torch will burn anything.
Mm-hmm.
He said, anything but an angel, because angels are spirits. You
Mm-hmm.
can't burn a spirit.
Mm-hmm.
You can't even see a spirit. And so if you're going to burn something, it needs paper or wood or plastic or something that will actually catch fire and burn. But a spirit you can't burn. And then I said to him as a kid, well, then why am I concerned about going to hell where my spirit will burn if you can't burn a spirit?
Right.
And so he looked at me like a deer in the headlights. And everybody in the church I could tell, everyone in church could not believe that a little 8-year-old would have such a question that adults had never thought of before.
I love that. But I remember you saying that, and that brought another, perspective for me too, because we're programmed to believe a certain amount. But I think what I have a hard time believing is you're saying Jesus, the Christ, never walked on this planet, and I think that
I
so
don't
many
think there was ever a Jesus who ever walked on this planet.
right, and
ever.
I think that's what people are taking so hard because they've had personal relationships with whatever Jesus is. And I will tell you this, I had a personal experience where I had a dream where I heard when my dog died, I was crying all night. And I said, God, you prove to me there's a God, prove to me there's something other than this. And I swore him out. I screamed, like a baby, I cried until I died. In reality, I just fell asleep crying. And then all of a sudden I had this loud noise in the left ear, and it sounded like a walkie-talkie, and it said, Christ lives, over and over again. Not Jesus, but Christ lives, over and over. I still don't know what that meant, but tell me what is the definition between Jesus and
Was the
Christ, because
man.
Jesus' last name was not Christ.
No. Jesus was the man. Christ was a position that the man held.
Okay, so
supposedly.
why would I hear Christ lives super loud
Because
in
that's
my ear?
probably true. There is a Christ. There is a Christ that is alive.
Christ consciousness,
Christ consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
So, but there was no man named Jesus. Because if you look in the encyclopedia, you will find that the word Jesus comes from an ancient Greek word for the sun that comes up every morning.
Mm-hmm.
And that word was iousus, I-E-S-O-U-S,
Mm-hmm.
or I-E-S-U-S. Iousus was the sun in ancient Greek. And you can interchange I's and J's in language. You can interchange I's with J's. So if you take the I out and put a J in there, a J is like an I with a little tail.
So
It
that more has
becomes
to do
J.
with words, but I'm talking about is Christ considered Jesus, or is Christ considered the word that represents a Christ consciousness, meaning the
It's a
connection of
very
all?
deep subject, and you have to go and you have to do some homework on your own
That's for
to
sure.
understand.
Mm-hmm.
You have to understand what the word meant, what the word Christ means in
Exactly.
fact.
Right.
But I'm just saying that when you understand the words and the terms,
Mm-hmm.
and then you look at the name of the sun in the ancient Greek language,
That's right.
I-E-S-U-S, Iousus.
Mm-hmm.
Or you put an I, take the away the I and put a J, it becomes J-E-S-U-S.
Mm-hmm.
Becomes Jesus.
Right.
But Jesus said, I am the way and
And
the
the truth
truth
and
and
the
the light.
light.
He said, I am the light.
Right.
But you need to know what the word way means.
Mm-hmm.
W-A-Y.
Mm-hmm.
Very important. I am the way.
Mm-hmm.
And the Bible says that Satan took Jesus to the pinnacle of the temple.
Mm-hmm.
Pinnacle is a triangle. Point on a triangle is a pinnacle.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there is no pinnacle on a triangle for the King Solomon's tomb.
Right.
Solomon's temple did not have a pinnacle,
Mm-hmm.
so it was not Solomon's. It was not Solomon's temple, which incidentally brings up the fact that the Jews today in Jerusalem go to the Wailing Wall
Mm.
to pronounce their prayers to God.
Mm-hmm.
The Wailing Wall in Jerusalem is a wall of a Roman fort. The Romans built it. God didn't have anything to do with it. It's a Roman fort called Fort Antonia, like Anthony.
Mm-hmm.
Fort Antonia. And the
Mm-hmm.
wall that the Jews are praying for and the Jews are praying at, like Wall Street,
Mm-hmm.
they're praying to their God in Wall Street. Well, the wall they're praying to in Jerusalem is a fort built by the Romans. Go look it up in the encyclopedias. Fort Antonia.
Someone just put
Yeah.
that. Fort Antonia.
Yeah.
You're freaking amazing.
And then when you begin to see that the whole story of the ancient Israel was all dreamt up, somebody dreamt it up and didn't do a very good job at convincing anybody. And so I
Okay.
think it was a story that was dreamt up by the Knights Templar Masonic Lodge to give a legitimate basis for the existence of the Roman Catholic Church. To give the Pope a legitimacy, they had to have something connecting them to something far older. And so they came up with the story of ancient Israel. There was no ancient Israel. It never
What's
existed.
the purpose of them coming up with these stories and all these parables? And because I know when I read the New Testament, I really do feel in my gut that those words are inspired by something pure and perfect. The one that, turn the other cheek, the one about, the miracle
But
that
all
you've
of
done.
these things,
Yeah.
all of those type of
Mm-hmm.
things
Mm-hmm.
are teachings that have come from the ancient world, from China, from Iraq, from the
Mm-hmm.
ancient world of mankind realized certain truths and they began to talk about them.
Raising the dead, or the
Right.
parable of,
All of that,
Lazarus,
and the
and all
very
of that.
word hell. You
Mm-hmm.
hear people saying go to hell.
Mm-hmm.
Hell is the word Sheol in Hebrew.
Mm-hmm.
And Sheol in Hebrew is mankind's common grave.
Right.
So when you die, everyone goes to hell if you go to a grave.
Right.
You're
But
going to
as far
hell.
as the words go, but where do you think we go when we die?
Oh, well, that's different. It's a whole different story.
You think that when our body is over, these are meat suits and it continues?
I think when our body dies, that's we call death.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't mean you died.
Mm-hmm.
That means your body died.
Energy only changes form. It can never be, according to Einstein, right?
Yeah. I think there might be something to that. The mere fact that we don't really die as
We
such.
continue.
I've had some of the most powerful people on the earth that I was close friends with
Mm-hmm.
that you wouldn't even believe that I know.
Mm-hmm.
And they told me about what happened when they died. They died on a hospital table and what happened to them. And these were very, very powerful men.
Mm-hmm.
And they told me what they saw, what happened to them. And I was amazed that these people would tell me such a thing,
Mm-hmm.
especially knowing who they are and what I'm in the company of. And so I'm just telling you to go back and look at this word way. I am the way and the truth and the light.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a scripture in the Old Testament says, God said to Israel, go back to the old way. The old way. The very word W-A-Y. What does it mean? Where did it come from?
Mm-hmm.
And so you go back and you will find out, as I did many years ago, the very word way, W-A-Y, is a word that the Romans gave to the zodiac. Today we call it zodiac. The ancient Romans called it the way. Why? Is because the way the sun moves across the sky.
Mm.
And so the sun was called the sun god.
Mm-hmm.
He was the god of the sky, the sun god. And his name was Horus.
Mm-hmm.
and he was supposed to rise. That's where we get the word horizon.
Mm,
Horus is
mm,
rising.
mm.
And so he would rise, and that's a Horus of the first degree. An hour later, he was higher. That's Horus of the second degree. And keep going till you get higher and higher and higher. And then on the 6th hour, he is now directly overhead. He's now the most high God
Mm.
because the sun doesn't get any higher than 12 noon or high noon. And so, therefore, we're talking about the Son of God in the Germanic world is S-O-N, not
Right.
S-U-N.
But remember, okay, so let's get on to this person wants to ask you a question, and I want to get you some water, and then wrap this up because I know you haven't eaten. So let me, Tony, I muted you, but you have one more question, and then we'll go Algo and then Milton. So, what do you got to say?
Yeah, I just got a statement. Can you hear me all
Yep.
right? I have like no less than 3 books. Madame Blavatsky's one of them, and 2 other ones. I can't remember the name, but they made statements in there that said the Father was the ether itself and not a person. Have you ever heard that statement
What was the
before?
He
question?
said he said the Father was the ether, not a person. Have you ever heard that statement before? Is that right, Tony?
I know that
Yes.
Helena Blavatsky, with her book, the on religion, was phenomenal. I have never gone through all of her
Yes.
books. Very few people have. But I was personal friends with Manly Palmer Hall, and he gave many lectures about Helena Blavatsky.
Mm-hmm.
And when Mr. Hall passed away, when he died, he left me all of his research material, and it was given to me. And I got a phone call from Obadiah Harris, who was the president of the university, Mr. Hall's university. And he said, when Mr. Hall passed away, he left you something in the will, and you should come pick it up. And I said, what is it? What did he leave me? He said, no, I'm not going to tell you. You just come pick it up. I got my car immediately and I drove back because I was in San Diego. And I drove to Los Angeles to PRS, the Philosophical Research Society, which was a university of Manly Palmer Hall. And he gave me a big set of boxes of books, all of Mr. Hall's research material he left to me when he passed away. I never understood that. I never understood why he did that for me. That was a profound, profound decision to leave his whole work to me. But I appreciated it and I understood it.
Yeah, well, he probably understood. Okay, Tony, I have to bring I have to bring algorithm on. And someone just asked, what's your perspective on the timeline of the Roman Catholic deception? How might it relate to Noah's flood and the last reset and Tartaria?
Oh, Soteria, yes.
Ha,
The flood of Noah's day was not a universal flood.
no,
It was
exactly.
probably a flood in a particular area of the earth, and the people there remembered it, and so it became known as a worldwide flood. Well, yeah, it's over their world. It wasn't a earth-wide flood
Mm-hmm.
because you have no idea how much water it would take to cover the earth. And if it was covered, where did the water go to? Where did it go?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I don't think there was a worldwide flood. I think that there's so much more that needs to be understood about theology and religion and the Roman Catholic Church that people have no idea in the world about.
And the stories of floods, from everything from Native American story about the flood. They all seem to have a story about a flood.
Everybody talked about
the
the flood.
So that makes you think, well, there must have been some kind of flood at some point. I mean,
Yeah,
everybody's
and I
talking
think
about
there
it.
was. And how many people are aware that right now, today, there is on the floor of the Atlantic Ocean a pyramid, the same size as the Great Pyramid in Egypt, which incidentally I was blessed in.
Mm-hmm.
I went to Egypt on a tour, and I was speaking in Cairo. I was speaking all around Egypt and traveling around Egypt and speaking at these conferences.
Mm-hmm.
And I happened to go into the Great Pyramid of Giza.
Mm-hmm.
And I was blessed in the king's sarcophagus. I had a
Wow.
Kemite priest. He was explaining that here's where the Pharaoh was laid in his tomb. And there was a ritual done over him. So I asked him, I said, Hakim, could you do the same ritual for me? He said, yes. So he had me get in the king's sarcophagus and lay down and cross my arms.
Mm.
And then he did a ritual, a sign. He had began some sort of a spiritual meditation ritual over me.
Mm-hmm.
And then when he was through, I got up. About half hour later, I got out of the king's chamber,
Mm-hmm.
and I never felt anything happen to me.
Mm-hmm.
But you cannot lay in the king's chamber in the king's sarcophagus and have a
Yeah.
Kemite priest bless you
And not think something's
and
gonna
not
happen.
think something is going to happen.
Whoa, that's like big time. You
Yeah.
can't just do that accidentally.
So, but anyway, it was very interesting, and I've had a lot of very incredible experiences that nobody's going to believe if I
Well,
told you.
yeah, well, we're probably of all the people we would believe. Tony, I was going to ask him about the aether, and I believe the aether and the waters are communication sources.
Yes, I'm sure of that. I'm sure that water is a communication source.
Mm-hmm.
And the Japanese doctor
Mm-hmm.
that what was his name, Moto?
Mm-hmm. Dr. Moto with the
Dr. Moto with the water.
crystals and the
He
energy
gave
of
me
yes,
he
yes,
gave
Dr.
me
Moto.
he gave me a lifetime achievement award.
Wow,
Dr. Moto.
he is incredible.
I thought that was so very nice of him to do that for me.
Yeah, and he was we've all, if you watch The Secret, you know about Dr. Moto. Or no, it wasn't Secret. He was in the What the Bleep Do We Know,
Yeah.
which he talks about crystals and water crystals and how if you just put a word over a bag of rice, two jars of rice, and you put love on one and pain or hate or death on another one, you'll see that it affects everything from water crystals to a jar of rice. I'm bringing Algorithm on while I get you some water, ask him one question, and then we have to get him going. And Milton, I still see you. So Algo, hey.
Hey, you got me?
Yes, ask a question while I get him water.
Mr. Maxwell, firstly, thank you for your service.
You know what? Maybe you should stay here because I can't hear him.
Oh, here, hold on a second. Let me turn it. Say that again, my love.
Mr. Maxwell, thank you for your service.
Yes, sir. Yes,
You
sir.
have served humanity more than most truthers we've ever met.
Well, thank you, sir, for that very nice comment. I appreciate it, but I don't feel very important.
Well,
No, right?
several people have wanted me to ask you about water wars, Mandela effect, and the question I want to ask you is your truth service worth the cost?
Ask the question again.
Firstly, you ask, can you talk about water wars? Do you understand or can you comment on the Mandela effect?
Yeah, the
And-
Mandela effect is not important to me, so I really don't know that much about it. I haven't
Okay.
looked into it at all.
Okay, and for your lifetime of work serving the public with truth, has it been worth the cost?
Say it again. What was the question?
You've given truth all the time,
Yeah,
and it has cost you something.
yeah, it
Is
sure
it worth
has.
the cost?
It's cost me everything I own.
Right.
My
is it worth
family
the
and
cost?
everything I've done, everything I've worked for was gone. Someone took it and it's gone. It's over and gone.
And would you do it again?
Yeah, I probably would.
God bless you.
Knowing that I'm going to lose everything and be totally broke and have nothing, I'd do it again.
Amen. And can you speak on water wars?
I'm not really sure of what I would say about that. I am sure that Aquarius is coming soon. We're not in Aquarius yet. We won't be there for hundreds of years yet. But we're in, but we've, because each one of the constellations are 2,150 years old, and we are in 2020, so it's about another 130 years before we, will be in the age of Aquarius. So we're not in the age of Aquarius. This is the dawning of the age of Aquarius. We're not in Aquarius yet. That means that certainly coming up in the next 50 to 100 years, you'll begin to see the churches will no longer have Jesus on a cross, because that was Pisces. That was in the age of Pisces. But if we're in the age of Aquarius in 130 years or whatever, then it will have to be a whole new symbolism in church, and it'll be a water world, because Aquarius is a water sign. And so,
I thought we were in the age of Aquarius. I thought for sure that was us.
no, we're in the dawning of the age of Aquarius.
Since the
In other words, the
70s, I
sun
think.
is finally beginning to show itself in the Eastern world, on the East Coast. It hasn't come up yet. The sun has not risen yet in the age of Aquarius, but it's coming. And the age of Pisces is leaving. That's why the Bible says there'll be a new heavens and a new earth. Why? Because a new heavens is going to bring about Aquarius, and Aquarius is going to bring about a new earth. So there will be a new heavens and a new earth, and Jesus is Lucifer. There's all kinds of interesting things that I don't have time to get into right now.
And that's why what I want to do is.
Can I ask you one quick thing?
One more. He's got one more. Go for it.
One
And I
quick
gotta bring
thing.
Milton on. Yep.
Give that girl next to you a hug.
Say that
Tell
again.
Tell Rachel thank you for all of us watching, and we so much appreciate you being here. You
Thank you.
are amazing, my friend.
Thank you. That's very encouraging to an old man.
Oh my gosh. You've woke so many of us, and your legacy will never go away.
Well, that's very sweet and very nice of you to say that, and I appreciate it. And
He
again,
told you to give me a hug.
Give her a hug.
she's giving me a hug.
We love you guys. Thank you, Jordan.
Thank
Okay.
you. He let us. Okay, last one. Milton, you're on.
Milton Cooper?
Yep.
I thought he was dead.
Oh, did you think he was dead?
I thought William Cooper was
Maybe it's not
Was
the same
killed.
Milton Cooper.
I think maybe I'm looking at him.
Maybe. All right, tell us, what's your question? Poor guy has an
Here's my question. I just wanted to know how long it took you to script the interview with yourself before you faked your death as Bill Cooper.
Oh, he thinks you're Bill Cooper, and he wants to know. He really believes that you faked your death and that you're actually Bill Cooper, not Jordan Maxwell.
Actually, I know for a fact you are, so I just wanted to know. How long did it take you to script the
that
interview
was
with
put out
yourself?
by the same people.
Oh.
That idea
Listen.
that I am William Cooper is ludicrous on the face of it, because I was on Bill Cooper's program. I was on his show. And so he invited me to be on his show, and he's talking to me, and I'm answering him. So I can't be Bill Cooper and Jordan Maxwell.
Or you dubbed it over with yourself?
He doesn't know. You dubbed it over with yourself.
This man worked in broadcast. He knows absolutely how to do that.
Really? Do you think you
Yes.
knew how to do that?
What?
To also be.
It's very common to dub over on a broadcast
yourself.
system.
Just
No.
like, so that's a hard no.
No, hard
Do you
no.
think I'm William Cooper?
I don't think I don't think he's William Cooper. And you know what? If he's William Cooper, I did work for Lockheed Martin and
I
also have a
bet.
television show. And because the moment I started speaking the truth about chemtrails, all of a sudden my background check completely changed. And they said, well, she knows. And that doctor she interviewed about chemtrails, that was a scam. She knows studios. She knows that that was all a lie. And then they looked him up and they demonized him, even though there's a million doctors that have spoken up about the coronavirus since then. But he was demonized. I was demonized. I was thrown under the bus by Richard from Boston, who I gave the video to. Look, I understand what that's like. And I know we want to reach for the conspiracy, but what's so sad is that the truthers, when they turn against me, and when I say truthers, I mean, I understand we always think people are lying to us all the time, but at some point you got to listen to your gut and say, why would someone do this? Why would I throw away my career and talk about chemtrails and everyone all of a sudden says that because I was in Hollywood, I'm this, because maybe I sacrificed and ate babies. Like, it's ridiculous. And the fact that I got, demonized for the same community that I trusted and believed in is probably what this man has felt like his entire life. And the same things happens. Like Alex Jones is really what that whatever that comedian.
Yeah,
is.
Alex Jones is Bill Hicks. And no offense to you, Rachel. You're nice, but I mean,
but I owned Lockheed Martin. I totally do.
that's okay. That's great,
No,
but
no,
I just wanted to talk to Bill Cooper.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. If you were Bill Cooper, what would Bill Cooper say? Just give him a he's like oh my god.
Tell me something about the aliens, Bill.
The aliens.
I knew Bill Cooper personally. I knew him personally. I sat and talked with him often. I did a radio show a couple of times. I never knew Bill Cooper to draw a sober breath. All the years I knew him.
So basically, Bill Cooper was a drunk. He's been.
In other words, I'm saying that he was an alcoholic personified. I never saw him when he was not 3 sheets to the wind.
But was he a good guy or was he? Yeah,
He was a
good
great guy. He was a great guy. It's just that he had a problem with his alcohol.
Yeah.
I don't care. It's none of my business.
Right, but Milton, thank you. I hope you subscribe, and we'll be back because I want to do a weekly series with him that will go towards him, and it'll be
That would be good if we did.
No, we're going to. That's what I'm creating right now. It's going to happen. But thank you, Milton. I appreciate you. Appreciate you for being here. Please come
No
back.
problem.
Okay?
Thanks.
Love you. Mwah. Okay, so now my question is this. I know you're always going to get that, and I kind of like that. That's happening. Many people want to know, like I told you, what is your feeling about the particle accelerator that's in Switzerland and France, and then batching particles together. And part of the reason I have this channel is because about 6 years ago, I had distinct memories of whether it was Bible verses or quotes or whatever logos that were completely different from the reality I'm in now. And it created this huge trending thing called the Mandela effect, and then everyone was making fun of it. But now even quantum physicists are saying it's possible that we either broke some kind of barrier and are shifting through different timelines at the same time. But what's frustrating is anytime we ask people if they remember certain things, they don't, and then they make us feel crazy. So I'm guaranteeing most of us on this live stream know that, when you think of the Star Wars movie and Darth Vader says, Luke, I'm your father. Well, now you look at the same video and he doesn't say that. He says, no, I'm your father. I know it's a tiny, tiny change, but for so many people, just like the Bible verse, the lion shall lay down with the lamb, that was huge for me. I know it was exactly that in Isaiah. But now every Bible, I even interviewed a Bible scholar and she looked at it completely surprised that it is now the wolf shall dwell with the lamb. There is no lion shall lay down with the lamb. None of that. So there's many different examples of this, and what they call it is the Mandela effect, because millions of people remember Nelson Mandela dying in prison, not what ended up happening. Now he's dead, but we all remember that. So it was labeled by this woman named Fiona Broome as the Mandela effect, because she realized once she outed that she remembered Nelson Mandela dying in prison, and realized he was still alive. There's many other people that also had that same reality. So I do feel like this is more of a quantum physics question, but many people here are confused about the alternate reality we feel like we are in right now. Does that make sense? It's way more quantum physics, but I do feel like maybe when they turned the particle accelerator on and they didn't know, bashing particles
Well, that
together.
reminds me of Dr. M.K. Jessup.
Okay.
Dr. M.K. Jessup was one of the doctors that was heavily involved in what we call the Philadelphia experiment,
Okay.
and he committed suicide
Okay.
and left a message
Mm-hmm.
that he could not live with himself because he realized what had happened in the Philadelphia experiment.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, I cannot live any longer. I have to go. And so he committed suicide because he said in his letter basically that he had that the Philadelphia experiment opened up a portal
Mm.
of some kind of a vortex
Mm-hmm.
in which the extraterrestrials could come through to the earth. And he didn't realize what he was doing. And he said, I've done this. I worked on this. I was and worked on the bringing the portal. And so he committed suicide because he couldn't live with himself because of what he felt he had done.
So is it what he done or what he found out? Because have we broken through by messing with the particles and bashing them in together? And I never, as a child, I'd never heard of CERN and the fact that they turned it on in 2012, which is when the Mayan calendar said it would end. So all of a sudden, I feel like we've experienced a whole different reality since then.
Yeah,
And is
we
that
possibly have.
right? Right. But isn't it interesting that most people here remember one thing, but lots of people remember another? Oh, I love Dick Gregory. Did you know Dick Gregory?
He was my dearest friend.
Oh, Dick Gregory, I was obsessed with for so
I know.
long.
I loved Dick. He was so
Oh.
very, very nice.
And he also knew so many truths.
Yep.
He outed the fact that, he ran for president accidentally.
He and I used to be on the stage together.
Mm.
I introduced him sometimes. He would introduce me sometimes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Dick Gregory is
He was a major, major person in
awakened
my
soul.
life. In my life, he was major. Him and Dr. The only Christian minister in my life I ever cared a thing about was the most incredibly brilliant man I have ever listened to. His name was Dr. Gene Scott.
Mm.
He was a profoundly brilliant man.
Mm-hmm.
But so many people hearing him, he used to wear all kinds of silly things. He wears glasses upside down or wear cowboy hats and smoke cigars.
Right, he was one of those.
But he was extraordinarily well educated. He had 2 PhDs from Stanford University. And he said to his congregation, I used to go to the church all the time just to see him and to hear him.
Mm-hmm.
I was so fascinated with this man. He used to say, all the silly things I do to offend people.
I love that.
That's what he said. I do it to offend Christians. Because Christians offend me, so I want to offend them.
Right.
I'm smoking cigars, I have the beautiful women around me, and wear my glasses upside down, and do all the things I'm not supposed to do because I know that it offends Christians. And because they're so damn stupid, they offend me.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why I do it. So they do. They
Well,
don't.
that's
They
like one of
thought they thought he was terrible. They always had terrible things to say about
Yeah, but
Dr.
that
Gene Scott.
reminds me of the most famous comedian who got up on stage and
Yeah.
ended up dying of cancer. What was he saying? It's, there's a big club and you ain't a part of it.
And you ain't in it.
And you ain't in it.
Yeah, what was his name? George Carlin?
Yeah, it's George Carlin. George
Yeah.
Carlin.
Things that doing on the earth today. One of the most dangerous things is that particle accelerator.
Mm-hmm.
It's so incredibly dangerous. It's like making every planet and every star and our whole entire solar system into a grain of gunpowder.
Mm-hmm.
And then throw a match in there and watch what happens.
And watch what happens.
Watch what happens if everything on the earth and all people and all planets and all suns in our solar system is a grain of gunpowder. And if that be the case, throw a match in and watch what's going to happen.
It's happening right now.
And I
Someone
think that's
says
what's happening right now. We are very, very
this close.
foolish to be playing around with CERN.
With that kind of stuff. Okay, so Planet X, I have a few friends that are like, it's Planet 9. It's been proved that there is another planet that is orbiting or it's out there. What is going on with Planet X? Because people think that is the big catastrophe that you're talking about. Planet X.
That could be. I don't know. I have no idea. It could be Planet X. I was a very close friend and a partner to some extent with Zachariah Sitchin.
Oh, that's it. That's what someone wanted me to ask about that. Okay, so what do you think of Zachariah Sitchin?
I loved him. He was a dear, dear friend. He was a
Okay.
very dear friend, and I was always happy to be in around him. And we would talk for hours. Sometimes we'd sit in Las Vegas or up in Northern California where I'd take him, and I could tell you some interesting things about Zachariah Sitchin.
We could do a whole episode about Zachariah Stitchin, man. I am telling you right now. I'm going to bring somebody on that is my dear friend, and he's amazing and very brilliant. His name is Ken Claudio. He wants to ask you something, but there's a few people that are saying, who's the Antichrist? And is there an Antichrist?
Well, I would say probably.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know about the subject of Antichrist. I know that there was no Jesus. That I know.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore, there was no Jesus Christ, because Jesus would be a man and Christ would be a position that a man would hold.
I feel like with the word of Christ represents to me the divine, the consciousness that maybe the higher self that knows, the gut instinct. Because when I heard Christ lives, it was not Jesus Christ, it was Christ lives. And I have no problem with people believing in Jesus, because if they have a thought form that raises their let's say moral dogmas and creeds, or raises them to be the best self that they can be,
that's good.
I don't care if you believe in a telephone pole, whatever it is, if that makes you do good, and by thy fruits you shall be known. So I always look at like someone like Jordan or Rachel or whoever it is, and I say, what are they doing in their life? Who have they affected? Are they doing things to get money, or are they doing things to share? How kind are they? And then by their fruits they shall be known. Because I think that there are certain words in the Bible, whatever you believe in, that are just, for me, it just resonates with the truth, whatever that, with a capital T, even though we know there's no truth, because we can always say we don't know at the end of the day. And that's the truth, is that we don't know. That's the final truth, is we don't know the truth. But I do believe that people who are attached to a figure, a man, or a God that's a man, is almost a little limiting, but unfortunately we're humans and our
But
brain can't
but in
conceive.
point of fact, that's what Genesis 1 says.
Mm-hmm.
In Genesis, the first chapter in Genesis tells you everything you need to know.
In the beginning
Yeah,
was the
in the
Word.
beginning, God made the heavens and the earth. It doesn't say
I think
that
it
in
says,
Hebrew.
I think it says heaven though.
No, it doesn't say in the beginning God created man. It doesn't say in the beginning God created the heavens and the earth in Hebrew. It doesn't say
Oh, what does
that.
that say in Hebrew?
In Hebrew, it's in the beginning, not El, because El is God in Hebrew. So you would expect it to say in the beginning El created the heavens and the earth. But that's not what it says. In the beginning in Hebrew, it says in the beginning Elohim created the heavens and the earth.
Mm.
Elohim is a plural on the end of El. It's a plural, like car, and you add an S, becomes cars.
Right.
And so El is God, Elohim is a plural. Therefore, what Genesis 1:1 is saying, if you read it in the Hebrew, in the beginning, the gods made the heavens and the earth.
That's
And why is it when the gods are creating man, they said, come, let us make man in our image, in our likeness. Come, let us. The rabbis told me many years ago it was asking a group, come, let us do this. Come, let us do that. Come, let us go to the beach. Or come, let us do this.
come let us
And so
share.
come, let us
Yeah.
make man. And the word man is not in the Bible. The word man in
thank
Hebrew,
God.
yeah. Man in Hebrew is ish, I-S-H.
So
Ish.
man-ish.
No, ish is man in Hebrew. That's what it means.
Ish is man. In
Ish means man. Isha
Hebrew. Yeah.
is woman.
Well, and I think that in the beginning was the Word, and the Word, which is what you're talking about, studying the Word.
Yeah.
Well, the Word is also spelling. It's a spell. You know, it's
That's why we fall in love.
fall.
In other words, you were doing just
right,
fine
right,
until
you
you
fell.
fell
Right,
in
in
love.
love. But I'm just saying, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was God. And I feel words are very powerful. And I guess my question to you before I have Ken ask the last question is, I'm gonna make sure. Let me put it over here. Thank you for holding it. My question is this: words are powerful, and I do believe that they have an ability to create even unconsciously. And one of my friends said, "Okay, Jordan talks about these symbols, and the sun is this, and rising between two mountains, and a new day, and now we see it on the Arizona flag, and now I see it everywhere, by the way."
Yeah.
And what the meaning is behind it is what you revealed. However, and this is where I'm going to go a little bit more spiritual, isn't reality our personal perception? Meaning, if I walked in here and you had a painting of one eye, I'd go, oh, he's Illuminati. But it just might be someone that, painted you this with a whole nother perception. My mom, for example, painted this heart with an eye in the center. If I ever posted it or put it on YouTube, people would go, oh, her mom's an Illuminati. Isn't reality ultimately, with all the knowledge you have about symbols, isn't it what we make it to mean? We're making it mean machines. So
I would say
right?
yes and no.
Okay, good.
I would say yes, that's possible that everybody has their own individual ideas about what something means, but no, there are, in point of fact, symbols which were given to the secret societies and are now very important symbols that are very obviously mean something. And when you look at those symbols in the reference works, you'll find out that there's something very, very serious going
But
on.
it isn't until you tell me that, as an innocent young girl, I could look at something and believe that the rest of my life. So I experience what I believe.
Yeah.
So I guess my confusion isn't uncovering the knowledge of, ooh, that symbol really means that. Well, now you just tainted my belief in something that I had a pure heart about.
And so is it a good thing? Or my other perception was maybe they unconsciously use symbols because it goes beyond.
Symbols have always been used.
Yeah,
Mankind has always
always use.
communicated with symbols.
But could it reach the unconscious or the undercurrent of the conscious humanity? Meaning, I can, without you knowing it, not that I can, I'm just saying, I can hypnotize you if I do like one of these things or whatever the symbol is. Could a symbol be used as an unconscious way to program you,
Yes.
even though you think a triangle is just a symbol you learned in kindergarten of a square, a triangle, but unconsciously when they keep putting it in our face, does that triangle then
Well,
program us?
that reminds me that in all
That's what I'm
public
asking.
buildings, hotels,
Mm-hmm.
restaurants, and public buildings, the men's room always has a triangle and the women's room has a circle.
Right,
And the reason why is because the triangle represents the pyramid
right,
and the circle represents Stonehenge. And you
okay.
have to know that.
What does that have to do with men and women?
Because the word pyramid, we say pyramid, it's not pyramid, it's pyramid. Pyra, which is a word for fire, pyromaniac, pyrotex.
Mm,
So pyramid means middle, mid is middle, and pyra means fire.
right.
Because the fire of sexual generation is in the middle of the male human body.
Oh
So
my
it's a
God.
pyramid.
But when I look at that, is it subconsciously telling me that, or because you just told me that? Now every time I see it, I'll think of that. Like, what is it? Is it the you telling me that? So now I believe it, or when I see it, it just is this undercurrent of subconscious wisdom that we've
I'm just saying
known.
go to the encyclopedias and look up the word
Yeah,
pyramid.
but if I didn't and I just saw a triangle and it just meant.
Well, I'm your teacher. When the student is ready, the teacher will appear. And so I'm just telling you what it means. So you go look it up yourself. You'll
Right, but
find.
when they put these symbols in us, and they have these like
I
things on the
know.
news, are they unconsciously programming us without
Yes.
our consent? So maybe to uncover that and gain knowledge about it, then we can choose whether we sign up for that.
Yeah.
I think that's why I want to learn more about that.
Yeah. That's why I wanted to know more.
Right,
I want to be able to know for sure.
right. So you have
Like
a
a
choice.
Gnostic means in Greek, Gnostic means to know.
Right,
I
right,
don't care to believe anything.
right,
The government doesn't believe. They have a CIA,
right.
which is a intelligence agency. They want to know for damn sure.
Yes,
They don't care what you believe. They want to know who you are,
they want to know.
where you are, what you actually believe. And that's why we have social networks.
Right,
Because,
socialism.
yeah, socialism.
Mm-hmm.
This
going
way,
there.
the government can find out where you live, what you look like, and all of your friends and what you talk about,
And clone me
and they can find you anytime they want
and
to.
upload my consciousness to
Yeah.
another one that's probably has more money and living in a better place and has a
I'm
man
just
that
saying
can
that
command.
that's what Russia was called the USSR,
And that
the
means
Union of Soviet Socialist
yeah,
Republics.
republic. Knew that. If Trump is another deception, are you able to tell us who is controlling him and for what purpose?
I can't tell you for sure because I don't know for sure.
Uh-oh.
I can tell you what I think. I think he represents. I think Trump represents some very, very powerful people. Some really scary people.
But in the same time, would you go Joe Biden or Trump, or do you think
No,
it's
Joe Biden is a joke.
Yeah,
A very
and
bad one.
we know that, but ultimately, is there someone that's controlling it no matter who wins?
Yeah.
So it
I
doesn't.
think it's somebody is controlling both sides.
Wow, see, people
They
thought you
always
were.
have.
Is he
But
not
I
gonna-
think the communists, the Marxist-Leninist Soviet communists in our country,
Mhm.
like Hillary Clinton, for instance, they know who's behind the president, and they're scared to death because they know what's coming. And I know what's coming.
What's coming? You
It's
can't
gonna
say it.
be- No, I won't. all I would tell you is go read the letter that Giuseppe Mazzini got from Albert Pike. Go read it.
We're gonna read it. We're gonna read it. We're gonna read it. Okay, one more question. One more question. Ken?
Hey, there we
Yeah.
go.
So
I hope I'm not repeating a question somebody else asked regarding alien disclosure. A lot of people and truthers are saying that they're gonna finally reveal that aliens exist and that there's going to be either a soft or a very hard disclosure of that, or that it's going to be another weapon of mass distraction to where some other agenda is going to go on, but we'll be so caught up with that.
My understanding, it was a Japanese investigator named Norio Hayakawa. And Norio was a dear friend of mine for many years. He is the one that I remember many years ago talking about there's going to be a fake alien invasion. And it's going to scare everybody into a new world order.
well, that's what this freaking pandemic has done. I feel like.
Yeah, that's what's happening. But I remember Norio Hayakawa talking about a fake alien invasion. And I one night was having dinner with a bunch of scientists and physicists, and Norio was there with me. And Norio voiced his opinion as to a fake invasion. And I said to Norio, I said, Norio, I can take the same facts that you are using and come up with a totally different conclusion. Let me tell you what I think. I think there very, very well might be a real alien invasion, and that the government knows that it's coming, and they know that, so they're putting into movies and television shows and into our psyche, the psyche of the humans on the earth. They're telling us what it's going to be like. So, and I don't think it's going to be a fake alien invasion. I think we are going to be invaded. I was told by one of NASA's top scientists. I'm not going to mention his name because he's in hiding right now. They are looking for him, and I don't know where he is, so don't ask me. Because at one time he was very, very high up in NASA. He told me in San Francisco a few years back, he said to me, I hear you talking all the time, Jordan, about the planet Saturn. Let me tell you what we know at NASA about the planet Saturn. Let me tell you something. He said, we know, we don't think or suspect, we know that Saturn is inhabited. We know that Saturn is a meeting place for a huge, enormous army of military. Some kind of a military installation is in Saturn. And they are coming into the planet and going inside the planet. We know that. We've seen them do it and come out of the planet.
So they're not living on the planet. Well,
No,
what are they flying
they're
into? Where are they
living in the
landing?
planet. Yeah,
How? If they're not landing on the planet, how are they
they're not
living?
landing on the planet. They're going inside.
Okay.
But they're coming many, many times. They've got pictures of huge groups of UFOs or craft going into the planet. So we know that they are building up some kind of a force like the military on the earth do. If they're going to invade, they build up a big force first. So when they're ready to invade, everything is in place and they got plenty of people, and now they're going to do what they have always planned on doing. And this scientist told me, we know that they are building up a force to invade. Somehow they're going to invade us, and we think that we know they're going to invade us. And so he told me this.
So what did that mean, though? What do we do with that as far as like if they invade us? Maybe they're already, I feel like they're already here and they look like people, but they're not.
They're probably already here are some forward people who come before the group.
Space Force. Like
Yeah.
all of a sudden Trump has Space
I
Force.
was going to say Trump space.
Yeah, so I'm just saying that I was told by one of NASA's best scientists that Saturn is a meeting place for extraterrestrials who very well are coming, they're collecting themselves up very well possibly to invade the Earth. That's what I was told. He said, "You talk about Saturn theologically. I'm just telling you what we know at NASA. We know that there is some kind of a military buildup on the planet Saturn. I think that's very, very interesting."
All right,
And
Ken, what else do you have to say?
I think that well, otherwise I'd keep him for another hour. But um, there's also a theory that because there are many factions of extraterrestrials, some say that they're also interdimensional, and some say that some of the interdimensional ones are actually demonic.
but we are dealing with something that's interdimensional. That there are some things that are going on in this world because there was a book written many years ago by I can't remember his name, a very famous, the French guy in the Close Encounters.
Mm-hmm.
What was his name in real life?
Oh God, I have no idea. I just know da na na
Yeah,
na
yeah,
na.
yeah. Well, the French guy in French Connection was can't remember his name right now.
Right.
But he wrote a book many years ago called Strange Things in the Sky or something like that. Weird Things in the Sky. And in it, he talked about how Pharaoh, Akhenaten, happened to be walking along the Nile when a silver disc came over the Pharaoh's head. And the Pharaoh began hearing voices. And the voice told him, "Go back to Cairo, and I want you to found a new city. You can do it as Pharaoh. You start a new city, and you call it Akhenaten." And Aton, 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 Akhenaten, because the word Aton was the sun god of Egypt, Aton. That's why the Jews today in all the synagogues of the world will show you that you cannot use God's name. You should not use his name. But you can use another word that they said is all right to use. And that word is called the tetragrammaton. The tetragrammaton is 4 Hebrew letters inside the circle of a sun with a sunburst around it. And so it's actually tetra is 4. Gram, Gramm, is a letter like A, B, C, and D. So tetragram is 4 letters. Well, that's why I said they're 4 Hebrew letters
Right.
inside the sun. The sun is called Aton. So it's called tetragram Aton.
Mm-hmm.
And so Aton is the sun god of Egypt, which means that the Jews are worshiping the same old sun god of Egypt. But Pharaoh was told to come up with a symbol for a new world order. And that symbol is to be a sunrise over a mountain range. And make sure you show the world a sunrise over a mountain range, which symbolizes tetragram Aton. And so today we see the sunrise over a mountain range everywhere.
Yep.
It's all over the world in police uniform, police
I'm
badges.
seeing it everywhere since you said that, and I
It's
watched
all
that.
over.
Oh my goodness. It is
Everywhere. Everybody's using the sunrise over a mountain range, which is started by Pharaoh many thousands of years ago.
So that's still the symbology.
Yeah.
Now, somebody said again about Trump, because at the end of your speech, when you did the
I want paper towels. Is there a
Yeah.
paper towel back here?
right here,
Yeah.
at the end of the speech,
Uh-huh.
you that you gave in February, what was the name of that again? Order
Order
out of chaos.
Yeah.
You mentioned who's going to be president, and you said the one you already have him. So I feel that too, but someone keeps asking, is Trump on our side or not? Is he part of that same Hillary Clinton whatever that is,
My
or
gut feeling,
yeah.
Hillary Clinton is nothing but a Soviet communist agent.
Right, and yeah, but the
She's
Trump
working
thing.
directly for the Soviet Communist Party, period.
Yep.
And so was old B.O.,
Yes.
Barack
Yes.
Obama.
But what about Trump? Is he? Is he?
Trump, I don't know about for sure.
Mhm.
I know what happened to Germany in the Second World War and how the communists were causing all kinds of terrible things that happened to German people and how Hitler got elected. He didn't come in and take over, he got elected.
Mhm.
And then he took over once he got elected. So I understand
Well,
that
and
Trump,
people are believing that Trump is dismantling the New World Order and crushing the liberal communist threat to humanity. I feel like everyone wants him to be the savior, and I'm staying back and saying, okay, I understand he says what he thinks. He's run by ego, but maybe he is. The only thing that made me lose hope is that he withdrew money from the World Health Organization funded by Bill Gates and China, but then put all the money into the same vaccination organization that Bill Gates funds. So I'm like, Trump, you got to pick a side. Like, are you really going to say that vaccines are mandatory or not? And I know he wants to win the
I
election.
think Trump is representing someone,
That's what I think. So not just someone, but like a
a
larger.
large group of people. They put their money and their political power behind him
Right.
because they're getting ready to do something. And the communist operatives operating in our country, the Soviet communist operatives, know about the people who are behind Trump and they know what they have in mind and they see it coming. That's why they so want to get rid of him. They think if they get rid of the front man, it's going to appease the situation. I don't think so. I
And
think
they're
if they
so
get
angry. Like every time I watch mainstream media, it's like watching a bunch of girls gossip about this guy that they hate. It's not, there's no news. And the more I see mainstream hating on him, the more I believe that as much as I never thought I'd say this, that I hope he is going to usher in this next, because
Yeah.
the more I see the funded propaganda of the mainstream media diss him, the more I say, well, I don't want to believe it that he's good, but he's got to be, because I'll go against what all the mainstream are saying because I know they're funded by pharma and corporations.
Never, ever, ever go with the group. Never, ever.
Bam.
When I was growing up as a kid, wherever the kids in school were going to do, I went the other way on principle.
Yes, I did too. I did too.
Totally. I totally went the other way. I don't want anything to do with where the crowd is going and what the crowd is believing. I don't care what they
Me
believe.
either. I never joined a sorority, never did any of that stuff.
None of it.
But Trump is not the controlled opposition, or what's your gut say?
I just think he's representing a very powerful force in the world. And I don't think that, and I think that the so-called Democrats, remember all the communist countries from 1920 on, all the communist countries were called the People's Democratic Republic. The People's Democratic Republic of China, the People's Democratic Republic of Cuba, and they were called the People's Democratic Republic of of North Korea. So it's always the People's Democratic Republic because democratic became a buzzword for Soviet communism.
This is what,
And that's what we have today, the Democrats.
right.
They want to make America into a People's Democratic Republic. Well, hopefully, I'm saying that I hope that they're not able to do this because who in the hell is going to feed everybody? It's America that has fed the whole world. Our grains and our food has gone out to the whole world to feed all the democratic republics because they never can feed themselves. They need our money, they need our ingenuity, they need our food, they need us to take care of them and to feed them and to finance them. So who in the world is going to take care of the communists in our country when they overthrow America?
Yep.
Because they can't feed themselves. They're too ignorant and ill-informed. All they do is cry and complain to overthrow the government, but they cannot produce enough to feed themselves. Thank God they have America to send them money and medical and
right.
food.
But we're turning into China owns us
Now
basically.
we're turning into the new communist
The new
empire.
communist empire, and I think that too. But don't you think Trump is part of the cabal, and he never does anything to destroy the cabal? Like, he'll talk about it, but he doesn't do it. So is he part of the cabal, and is the cabal the downfall? Because there was this very popular documentary called The Fall of the Cabal.
Yeah.
And is he part of that or no?
Well, I think that he is probably well informed about what's going on, and he's being backed up by some very powerful people, probably in Argentina, who knows. And so I don't know for sure if he's 100% good or bad.
I feel the same way. I'm like right on the. I'm so confused. They've confused me, and I guess it's a powerful man that can say, "I don't know."
Because remember what happened to Germany in World War II?
Yeah.
The communists were trying to overthrow the government in Germany, and the German people were not stupid. They were very intelligent people, and they had built up a beautiful country.
Yep.
And yet Adolf Hitler came in and said, you're going to have to do something to stop these people. Well, in point of fact, he was a part of the plan. The plan was to bring in the communists to try and overthrow the government, and then therefore to step in and bring Adolf Hitler in to put the communists down. And so I'm seeing all that stuff happen again.
Right now. And most of the media belong to the CFR, Council on Foreign Relations.
That's
It was
right.
founded by the Rockefellers. That to tell you all you need to know,
Yep.
which is what you've talked about before. And Ken, do you have one more thing to say before we let this poor man eat or do something? Because I feel like we've taken so much. You know how my live streams go, but it's not. I have to be. Hold on. I have to unmute you. Say it again.
I'm saying, no, I'm good. Thank you so much for your service and everything you've done to help all of us, Mr. Maxwell. Thank you.
Yes,
Thank
thanks,
you.
Ken, for tuning in. And Sean, yours isn't coming in. I'm trying to connect you, but it's not. So, is there anything you want to say lastly? And what I want to do with you is continue, because I only live an hour and a half away. But I would
Yeah.
love to do something where we can do a weekly thing that will help fund your life and where you're going. And so, to be a part of it, it will be,
Just keep in mind that there are other websites out there on the web bearing my name,
yeah.
Jordan
So I'm going to
Maxwell.
show them right now your actual
My
website, because
actual
I can do
website
that.
is
Yep.
jordanmaxwellshow.com.
Watch, I'm going to show them that right now.
Yeah.
Watch this. Watch how I do this. You want to see some magic right now? Abra. Oh, what does abracadabra mean? Now I feel like that's going to be a whole thing. It's like, where does abra and cadabra come from? Okay, here we go. This and this. So guys, if you ever trying to find him, it is
Jordan Maxwell Show.
See, this is what they see right now. Yep.
And I would suggest, if you want more information, you will see Join Research website on my homepage.
Okay, we're on your
You
homepage.
click on that and join my
right here.
research website.
Join new research website. I'm going to click on that.
Click on that and join,
Yep.
because that's where I'm putting all the documents, pictures, videos, and all the extraordinary stuff I
Look at all
can't
this.
talk about in public.
Yep.
I'm not going to talk about in public, but it's all on the research website. So go on my website, jordanmaxwellshow.com, and join the Research Society.
Join.
And
click
if
the-
you wanted to send me a donation of some sort, that would be nice too.
That's right there. It says
So-
10 to 30 for a lifetime membership.
It's actually not 10 to 30. It's actually $30 for the
$30
membership.
for the membership, which you completely deserve. And look at all the things that you can get. Because you know what? There's still now almost 200 people right now live. And when this posts, it's going to be a lot more. So the thing is all this information is out there on his website. And I'm sharing your website right now. Let's
And if
make
you'd
it
like
full.
to talk to me personally,
Yep.
then go on my website. And it
Yep.
says Jordan Maxwell Show.
Right here.
Go on my website and roll it down. Go down to the top. Go to the top. And it says Talk to
Talk
Jordan.
to Jordan right there.
Click on it.
Yep.
And below the picture, it gives you all the information how to call me and talk to me.
There we
If you want
go.
to call and talk to me, there it is. So go on
Donate, and
that.
that's what we did to
Yep.
have this conversation now. So, guys, a shout out for that. And also, you can email me if you have any more questions. But personally,
You can email me too on
Yes.
that show. Go to that
Yep.
show and email me. I'll try and get back to you.
Yep.
Remembering, of course, I'm 80 years old.
which is incredible
Yeah.
that you've been able to even go this long, and now that you have more people, 200 people. So I think this is going to do well. I would like to personally, if I interviewed you once a week and had all the money go towards you, I think that would be a fun ongoing thing. So we
And
can.
I could tell you a lot of things.
Oh, I mean, look at people still want to know. There's more people than when we started, and they still have questions. Scrolling, see that? Those are all people that didn't even have time to ask or whatever. But what does it say? 30 years ago, I remember listening to the news. They said an asteroid was 30 years away. Do you think that we're going to get hit by an asteroid? Do you think
I
that's
think
it?
it's very possible.
Yeah. And the underground tunnels, do you think that's where people are going
Yep.
to? Yeah.
I think that this whole idea of an asteroid hitting the Earth is very possible.
So
and
where are you going to go? Where are you going to be? You're talking about going back to LA. You might leave this area. What
I
are you going to be
feel
doing?
I'm going to go back to Los Angeles
Mm-hmm.
because at 80 years old, I'm not going to be here much longer anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't care if I die in some Holocaust, some terrible.
You're like ready.
They'd be doing me a favor. Yeah.
Well, look, we can all do. We can also do this if I have you on next week,
That would be wonderful.
and I
I'd
can
love to
start
do
a
that.
GoFundMe for you, and we can start to collect funds for you
I think
because
that'd be
everyone loves you.
wonderful
Don't you think?
Because then I could do something to protect myself if I had some money.
Yep.
If I had the money, I
Yep.
could do something to protect myself and hire lawyers to do something for me. But the lawyers will not touch me because they know I have nothing. I own nothing. I got
Right.
nothing.
Right.
And all they're in the whole game for is to make money. But I do have some very important lawyers that could do some very important things for me if I just had the funds to
Well,
pay
and
them.
that's why I'm here, because maybe just creating this live stream and this excitement, because all they keep saying is have him back, have him back. Well, this was a great episode, but this was funded by about 8 of my subscribers, because time is money and money is time, and we funded him to do this, and it's going to happen again. He's just not giving up. And
I
I
appreciate it. It's
Yeah, and I
wonderful.
drove 2.5 hours here, and I'm driving 2.5 hours back. Well, probably an hour and a half back, but up here
Yeah.
it was a lot longer. So I'm just telling you guys, I would love to do that. I know you guys are excited about it,
And I would be very happy to do it.
yes,
It'd be great.
and because I would love to
And I'd
communicate
love
with.
to be able to tell you all kinds of
Yes,
secrets.
yes, and I also, do you accept silver and gold? They're saying they want to know.
Yes, and I also accept Bitcoin on my website because Bitcoin's going to go through the roof.
You think that's going to be good?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Bitcoin's going to be really, really expensive. It can go to maybe 250 to 300,000 per Bitcoin.
Yep.
I think it's going to go through the roof.
Move. Okay, and what about wormwood? That's the last question because
Yeah,
people
what
want to know
about
about.
wormwood? It's in the Bible.
Yeah. It says wormwood, the Bible tells of wormwood hitting the earth, so yes, it will be hit at some point. Is that
Well, I was not really prepared to do the show tonight, but I'm happy you're here and I'm happy I did it. But I will try and be ready for the next one. We'll talk about that between the
yes,
two of us.
that's good. That's good.
Yeah, and then I'll be more prepared.
I think personally, I want to say thank you very much. We're going to end this now. It's definitely been 90 minutes, and you didn't need to be prepared because you just being you is prepared. And yeah, so hold the microphone a second. And
I thank you.
yep. He's go to jordanmaxwellshow.com.
Remember, put the word show
Yes.
in there. Jordan Maxwell Show. The Jordan is like the country of Jordan
Yes,
or the river Jordan. Jordan.
absolutely.
And Maxwell is Maxwell. And if you remember, Jesus said, upon this rock I shall build my church, and the gates of hell shall not prevail against it. Upon this rock I shall build my church. Look it up in the encyclopedia and the dictionary. Look up the word rock in a Bible dictionary, and it tells you the word is actually Petra.
Whoa.
Yeah, Petra. That's why Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade end up in Petra. It's one big rock that's made into a temple. And it was carved out of one big stone. Upon this rock I shall build my church. And the word as rock is Petra. So what Jesus was supposedly saying is, upon this rock called Petra, I build my church. Well, the Nabateans built Petra. They were called Nabateans.
Okay.
The Nabateans are the people that we call the very most ancient Arabs on the earth. And they were heavily involved in what we call astrology. So upon this rock I shall build my church. The rock is Nabateans
Rock of
who built
Gibraltar.
Petra. So it's an incredible story.
But if you don't believe in Jesus, and Jesus said that, then how can you quote Jesus if you don't believe Jesus was real?
Because somebody is telling you something. Jesus represents something. He represents the truth and the light. He said, I am the way and the truth and the light. So the people who are wanting you to wake up and find out what the truth and the light really is, they're telling you, go back and look at Petra, Indiana Jones in the Last Crusade. They end up in Petra. And the Last Crusade, Indiana Jones, go back and watch it. They end up in something called Petra, and they show you inside Petra. And as they go into the temple of Petra, they find a Knights Templar, a Knights Masonic Order Knights Templar. And he is overseeing the Holy Grail, the Cup of Christ, which is called Cathar, C-A-T-H-A. Cathar is a constellation in the heavens. They're called Cathar, the Holy Grail.
Right.
So
What is the Grail? What's the Holy Grail? What is it they're searching for? What does it ultimately say? Because in Indiana Jones, when they open it, they all...
I know. That's Steven Spielberg and Lucas.
Right,
I know.
yes. But ultimately, you said what's most important right now for us to do, whatever's coming, is to get in touch with Spirit, get in touch with God.
And talk to God, talk to the spirit entities, talk to the great universal God force.
Connect with that.
Connect with that one and tell it what you want. Talk to it about your life and ask it to do things for you. Ask it to personally protect you and guide you and help you to make the right decisions. And ask it, talk audibly. Talk to it as if you're talking to your father, because that's what we're doing.
That's right. That's right.
So talk to the spirit and ask it to help you and show you what it needs for you to do.
That's right. So that we can be protected.
That's
and
right.
There are forces that, for us to just believe in what the knowledge they gave us, that to me is what I've learned from you, is that is ignorance on every level, is to just say it's just this way and he needs to be saved and Jesus is the only thing. That upsets me because it divides yourself from what you don't know. Have you died and actually come back? No. When you die and come back, then you can tell me. Until then, we should explore. We should keep our minds open. We should still connect to a force inside
Some
of
of
us.
the most powerful people on this planet talked to me in private.
Yes.
And they told me what happened when they died. They said they died on an operating table, and then they told me what happened to them when they died. These are people far above the President of the United States. Some of the most powerful people on the earth. And so I listened to them. And
So what happened when they died?
It's an incredible story. We'll get
To
back to
be
that.
continued. And that's a good mic drop. Thank you very much, guys. Everyone says, Lux, we love you, Jordan. Thank you so much. You are blessed. Someone says, give him a COVID 1984 t-shirt next time. Because I have these t-shirts that says COVID 1984, representation of George Orwell and the whole, what they're ushering in. Thank you very much. We love you, Jordan. We appreciate this. This was so amazing.
Donate something that
we've already had a few.
Website and donate.
That's right. We've already had a few people donate. It's jordanmaxwellshow.com. And you hold this while I put
I guess
hold this.
we'll come back and we'll do this
Yes,
again.
we're gonna do it again. I'm gonna put Jordan Maxwell. I'm gonna put it up here. MaxwellShow.com. Put that up there. So that's being seen. And I always end with a song, so I'm gonna sing you out.
Oh,
What
that's
song would
wonderful.
you like me to sing for you? No, you just
Okay.
hold it. Since you talk about sun worship. You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are gray. Does it mean gray? What does it mean? You'll never know, Jordan Maxwell, how much I love you. Please don't take Jordan Maxwell away.
Thank you. It's very sweet of you.
Yay! Say bye, everybody. Bye. Everyone says bye. That's 185. Great job. Okay. Bisexuals.